was a long time ago, maybe a month love? Could have been.
Hello, everybody out there in the internet. Welcome to Aimless Babble Z, episode 400!
Woo! 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 Woo!
I'm Chris Hammonds, Taking Master, joined by...
RPG Maniac 05.
And Trioptical.
See, I've got so much been playing a topic battle royale for the middle
Oh my
segments.
gosh, we're doing a thing, guys. We're
And-
doing the thing.
And, maybe a news story or two in the news segment. Also, we're currently streaming, but I've had like technical issues. I think I might have solved them. I might have went in and like fixed what might have been broken because I watched a lot of videos. It's a long story. I got a laptop. I tried to set up on the laptop, and then I had it going, and I was like, all right, we're good to go. And then Skype was like, ha ha ha, Tekken, not so much, lol 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 lol, and like didn't work. So here we are back on Tekken's computer. That like totally likes to just randomly work or not work, and so far so good. So yeah.
Oh, Code Realize. That's the name of it. There we go, guys. I found it.
That's what that game is about?
It's
Yeah, that's
that,
weird.
I know, tell me about it. But apparently she finds love somehow, even with her poisonous, deadly blood. Poisonous, deadly blood. Just like in real life.
I mean, it's not that hard, right?
I mean...
No
if everybody-
touching! No touching!
That would kind of mess up you trying to date somebody if you couldn't
No touching.
touch them.
No touching.
Say what
It's
you-
like everybody I touch dies. It's like, well, that's... I'm going to go talk to the other person over here now. Because, yeah. F that noise.
say
You
what
may continue.
See what you've been playing. I tried to start a game on the Vita. I was playing Final Fantasy 6 for a bit, but then I was like dozing off, and then I was like, yeah, I need to play something that's not a long-term JRPG committed relationship right now. And I haven't gone back to the store to download those games. So I was browsing through the store, and I was like, oh, I didn't know this was cross-buy. It's like, I didn't know I had Bastion. I didn't know I had Octodad on PS4. And I was like, apparently a lot of games cross-buy that I just haven't got around to putting on my PS4 and playing through. I mean, PS Vita. And playing through them, so I guess it's time to do that. Besides that, always, well, not always, but kind of always, because unlike another developer, they know how to keep pumping out the content for their game, Monster Hunter World. Just, you know, grinding out the Arch-Tempad Valhazak, and then doing
Yeah, I
the
forgot to
Summer
do that.
Festival, so, you know, that's going to be fun, and hopefully stuff to do. And swimsuit costume armor, I guess, or not, whatever, we'll see. Who knows? Who knows? Also my plan is to make all the swords, or like 5 of them, but then I'm like, I got a decent amount of that done, and I started to think, I don't think this is a good plan. It's like, I don't think I need 5 of each of these, so...
Of course you do.
Yeah, new plan. But then luckily there's the Lunestra swords, which I haven't gotten, because Lunestra F that a-hole, so I guess I'll try to get those Lunestra swords, but, you know, when I feel like it, because I do not ever really feel like fighting that monster, because waves of fire, and you're burning, drinking cold drink. Oh, well, you're still getting hit by these waves of fire. Ha ha ha.
They make a
how does that
cream
make you
for
feel?
that.
Oh, and then here comes Tiestra, and we're fusing, and yeah, how's that make
Like-
you feel?
Like a DJ. Like a DJ.
Besides that, been doing the daily Gran Turismo free reward car, or whatever it's called, thingy. Which is weird, because like yesterday, it gave me a truck, and I was like, this ain't no car, I'm not driving this in no race, so that happened. But yeah, saving up credits slowly but surely for the delicious cars that they keep adding. And yeah, it's just like a never-ending cycle. It's just jump in, drive a race, get some credits. It's like, oh, how much do I need? Oh, I'll keep doing it every day just to make that goal. Yeah, and then slowly but surely you get there. So yeah, I haven't had time to go and do the track mastery thingies, whatever they're called, challenges or whatever. So yeah, just on the daily like 15 minutes or whatever it takes me to do the daily reward card thing. And I'm streaming it on Twitch if you want to check it out. So, you know, every day or almost every day, close to it. Just, yeah, you know, if you're bored, you're like, oh, what did Tekken get to there? Check it out. Besides that, there's 2 more games. I'm trying to think. One of them is Destiny, which I don't really feel like talking about, because, man,
Yes, you do.
I guess I'll go ahead and talk about it, because I had a moment with Destiny 2, and now I can't find the image in the folder. Har har, that's funny. Where I was like, you know, Tekken, I don't think we need to get. I don't think we need to get Forsaken. It's like, you know, I think what we should do is the same thing we did with Destiny 2. It's like, you know what, that was fun. I enjoyed myself, but let's just, you know, wait a month after release. Let someone else take that bullet. See if it's worth it. You know, if it's worth the pain and suffering and the struggling. Because I was grinding my faction rally stuff, and I was like, this isn't fun. And then they had like a double or triple Valor rank thing going on. And then I got to like the first one really fast, and I was like, oh man, if I went to Lord Shax, and I was like, oh Shax, what do you have today? And he had like a exotic ghost shell, and like you had to get your Valor rank reset twice. Now I've only done it once, but I was like, it went so fast that first time, and I jumped into like do it the second time after I reset it, kind of like Prestige in Call of Duty, because like every time you get to the 5th rank, it like stops, and it's like, oh, reset your thingy for rewards. And I was like, alright, let's see what I get. Yeah, and then obviously it like didn't go that fast the second time, and I was like, well, what do we have here, Destiny 2? You have destinied me. And I was all, oh, I might actually get this. Nah, I mean, I got it, but I was like, you know what? After that, that is just like, you know, very indicative of the relationship I've had with this game over the last year, and I'm kind of over it. It's like, you know, we got Prestige Raiders coming, but that's like it, and then we have like the Solstice of Heroes thing, which is kind of a Nature Triumph thing. So it's like, I think I'll do that, and it's like, I think after that I'm out. It's like, I think I'm good. I think I'm just gonna wait a month after Forsaken. I was like totally on board, and then I wasn't, because I was playing this, and I was like, this is the game. This is what you do in the game. You grind, and you get stuff, and then the grinding makes you hate the things, and then you get the things, and you're like, I don't need the things, and then I'm just like, in my mind, just in my brain, like I was a very like white hot nerd rage when I was like doing this. It was just very like a boiling just anger, just like a fierce just like when this was happening.
Oh my!
And then I was just like, you know, it all came to me like a fever dream. I was like, why are you doing this again? You know you don't need to, but you keep coming back to this game, and that's all it is. You just go and grind for the thing, and you get the thing, but you don't need the thing. But then you got the thing, and you're like, what's the next thing? I guess I'll get the other thing. And it's like, no, we don't need to be on the parade of things that we don't need. It's like, I think I'm good. I think I'm fine. It's like, I've got to the end of the tunnel, and it's like, let me get out of the tunnel. The tunnel never ends. Oh, it's Death Trap. He just wants you to die in there. Die in there with the stuff. All the things you didn't need. And you just keep on going into the mountain. And the mountain was a trap. And it ate you because it had teeth and you didn't know. And it's like, and now you're dead. So,
Oh my!
the mountain didn't eat me because I escaped. And I was like, I'm never coming back to you, mountain. So, we'll see a month after Forsaken, because I was like, you know what? Yeah, this is, why am I doing this myself? I mean, sure, you know, the sleeping city looks like a fun time, but then how much of a fun time will it be after the first month, after the second month, after the first day, after the first week, after you've exhausted all the fun that there is, Tekken? How much fun will it be? And it's like, you know what, voice in my head? I think you have a point. And it's like,
LOLs.
it was like, yeah, I do. That's why I'm here. When your white hot rage just like just bubbles up. And I'm just like, this game. Why am I playing it? 3 in the morning and just, and just, yeah, man. It's just, let it go, man. Let it go. And I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to let it go. Just like Elsa and Frozen. And, yeah. Or at least for a month, you know. Just take a break, because, this game. It's like, every time I think it get to me, it gets to me. And it's like, oh, I'd like to think I've pushed onto a new threshold, but I think it's just like, you know, some sort of like weird, symbiotic, like, oh, let's see what we can do to F with Tekken. Oh, we're F'ing with Tekken. He can take it. Oh, he's kind of broken, but not completely broken. He's just damaged.
Oh,
just give him some time. See, he came back. We didn't break him. And then it's just like, you know, it just keeps going and going and going. It's like, you know, maybe in the darkest timeline, it's just the thing I cling to just like get through it. But it's like, I would like to think, I don't need this. I'm better than this. I can do this without this. And then, you know, not do that to myself. But yeah, I don't know, man. I was on board for Forsaken, but then the more I think about it, I'm like, I don't need this in my life. But then I'm like, rating is fun, but it's like, is it that fun? It's like, but then I'm like, what comes out in September? Just Spider-Man. It's like, there's nothing to save me. There's nothing else to save me. It's like, there's Spider-Man, and then it's like, what else is there? And it's like, oh, you're right. There's nothing coming out, is there, until like Red Dead, and that's October. And it's like, why, and just, yeah. And I looked at the release schedule, and I was like, oh, that's right. There's a giant like window where there's nothing coming out, and it's like Destiny is like right there after Spider-Man. And I know we're just like crack on Spider-Man and be right done with it like within a week or two. So yeah, that was like, you know, for a moment I was like, I'm free, woo, Destiny 2, get the F out of here. And then I was like, oh, there's nothing to play. Well, yippee. I feel empty and broken inside and hollow, and I know I'll get over it, but I guess it never ends, man. Me and Destiny, we're just here for the duration. And then, you know, I don't know if I said this last episode, but I think I'm just gonna, like, you know, until PS5 gets here, Destiny 2, it's like, you know, I might as well just write it out until PS5, and then, like, you know, then it's like I'll be done. It's like that was my, you know, my brush with the games as a service, and I probably can't go back after this because it has effed me up, I gotta say. So thanks,
Sounds
Destiny
like
2, you've ruined the games as experience. I mean, not all of them. I mean, but when it's done like you do it, because you do it pretty terrible, let me tell ya. Ah, man. I'm never going to be tricked into that again. I'm like, oh man, that gun looks cool. That looks cool. I can throw Nova bombs. Oh man, that armor. It's like, nah, no, dude, that story is not there. Characters, all the stuff I like in other games I'd really like to play from Telltale and BioWare and Quantum Dream. It ain't got it. It ain't got it. It's got guns and stuff to shoot and like a circle that you go in to like get more of that thing or to do more of the thing. And it's just, yeah, hello, why am I doing this thing? And you're like, oh, for the thing. But then it's like, was it worth it? Was it worth it? You get to the end. It's like, how many hours did I play Christmas this week? And I was like, too many. Too many. Just, yeah. Destiny 2. Too many hours. Destiny too many hours. That's, yeah. Destiny too many hours on the struggle bus. Because that's what happened to me. And I'm not letting it happen again after Forsaken. So, I mean, I guess I'll get it, because, I mean, there's nothing else to play, and I'm super curious, and I want to believe.
Well, there is other stuff to play, you just don't necessarily want to play them.
But RPG, it's like, it'll be out, and my brain will be like, oh man, I'll be watching streams, I'll be like, oh man, I could be playing this. It might be fun, it might look fun. I'll be like, oh man, and then, yeah, eventually I'll cave and be like, well, it was on sale, or, oh, well, it doesn't look that bad, or look at how much fun everybody's having without me, So,
LOLs.
I guess
They're all pretending to have fun, though. They're not actually having fun.
Destiny 2, whatever I just said.
Too many hours, you said?
Destiny too many hours, struggle bus. I guess we're just gonna keep on keeping on until PS5, and then I will for sure be ready. I mean, I'm ready to go, but it's like, you know, I want to believe they can fix this and make it awesome.
PS5.
And, you know, but in my brain I'm like, was it ever really awesome Tekken? It's like, well, Taken King was good. That was like really good, and this is kind of the same thing. It's like the Taken King for Destiny 2, so it's like, how could it not be? It's like, well, good point, because I really did like Taken King, so
You did. You loved it.
So yeah, I wish I knew I wish I knew how to quit you, Destiny 2, but I guess I just don't. So yeah.
He doesn't know how to quit you.
What else did I play?
What did it cost you, Tekken?
Too much time RPG, because Destiny too much effing time. Ugh, thousands of hours. That's what it cost me, of my soul just seeping through my body and just and my life force and my aging. I mean, I didn't age that badly, but I did, so I'm not gonna get that back. Not gonna get those years of my life back and those hours of my life back, so I could have, like, learned skills, like how to speak a foreign language, how to draw, how to code, how to do all these other things I really want to do in my free time, but I'm just playing Destiny to let it suck everything out of me. Everything. And I just keep on coming back. What else did I play? Oh, that's right. What else did I play? Not only did I play this game, but I finished it. God of effing War. And I gotta say...
So you saw the spoiler at the end. Yay!
I gotta say, it was really good. I mean, those early reviews, I mean, maybe like a hair overrated, but it was like solid. I can't say it was bad. It was really good. Like it wasn't like the 10. I mean, whatever. I'm not gonna like get into like the whole score issue thing, but it was a good game. It was a solid game. So like I can look at those reviews and say yes, that was very accurate. And
See, that's what I said.
I did enjoy
It's like
it.
it's good, but
as
it wasn't
much
like the goat, you know?
The goatee.
I mean, I don't want to be that guy, but I think I preferred Horizon Zero Dawn than Robo Dinosaurs, but whatever.
Horizon Zero Dawn. You can never go wrong with Horizon Zero Dawn. Because
I also think my familiarity with the franchise and like never having finished one was like, there's like some moments in the game where it's like you see past things or past things are hinted at and like you just don't get the payoff, and it's like I probably would have liked that way more if I'd played the other games, but it's like whatever, dude.
Probably.
Um,
Oh yeah, that's true. Because I didn't play 3. Now that I think about it, so when they were making all those references to like Athena and stuff, I was like, sure, whatever. But
and man, I gotta say, if Nier Automata was over 9,000 with like the giant tornado fight, this game is like Super Saiyan God with like the epicness of like the boss fights and just the stuff you do and the things that happen and just like stuff goes down. And it's like, man, I can't even like put it into words. It is like biblical. It is like epic. It is just like so like, oh my goodness, did that just happen? And then like you keep going and it keeps going and it's like, oh my gosh, it just yeah. And I was like, man, that was just like and then like after a certain point, I think halfway through, it's like I couldn't put the controller down. Like I got like you get to a part in the story like something happens and you're like, oh, why is this happening? And then it's like, oh, well, Kratos isn't. It's the thing. It's like Kratos is never like forthcoming with like his information. He's like always lying and like not telling it. Like RPG said, it's like it's a good study for like keeping secrets because like that's the only way he can like stay safe and like keep his son safe. So it's like there's so many questions like running through my mind of like what's going on, and then it just like from that point on to the end, I was like, oh, you finally get your payoff and like you're seeing all these I mean, they're not quite hieroglyphics. They're like, whatever they are, whatever those things. It's like, oh man, it's hitting that stuff in the future. Oh no, and then, man, it was so good. It was so good. And then like once the credits roll, it's like, ooh, man. And then you go home, and it's like, ooh, the credits roll, and it's like, ooh, just can't wait. It's like on the one hand, that was a very delicious like morsel of a tease of like what is in the future, but then it's like, why tease me with this information? I can't wait now. No. It's like everything in this game was like so epic, and then like that like the next fight that you're setting up is like gonna like to eat like it's like how can you eclipse the Super Saiyan God levels that I just went through? When I like was throwing that dude through the house and like just charging at him and just all these other things I did to like these other creatures in the realm when we were fighting, and it was just like so just violent and delicious and just like and just satisfying and just the things we did, the people, I gotta say,
although
along the way.
I both agree and disagree with the whole boss fight thing, because there's the one with the one guy that's like I feel like kind of went on too long in both cases, because it's like for the first
the second time I would say it definitely went on too long, because like there's like a melodramatic like part of it that like I just was like, this is too much. This is like why are neither of you stopping? Can you not hear? Like, we can talk this out, can't we? Can't we talk? Okay, we're not talking it out. Whatever, dude. Fine. Kratos, just do what you do, because that's all you do. Like that one person said, you're just a monster. Blah, blah, blah. I was like, okay, fine. I guess it's just gonna be like this, and obviously knows how it's gonna turn out, because I'm the God of War, and like clearly I've done things to people, and like you're it's like true. The next in line, so this isn't going to end well for you. So you should just stop. Well, you don't want to stop. No, not my fault.
He's like, bruh, I'm wearing my family. You don't scare me.
But yeah, I very much enjoyed this game and all the RPG elements. Music, the music was great too. Like every time, like the theme would come in of like, da, 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 Kratos. That's not how it goes. But like
I just wanted to say, it's like I don't think that's how that goes.
Oh, Kratos is part of the lyrics.
Kind of like the Sephiroth songs, like Sephiroth, Sephiroth.
It was great because like you always knew like something was going to happen or like something cool was about to happen. Like the music kicked off, it was like, oh man, and then just like ooh, and just like got really good and just like so great, and then yeah, and looks amazing. And yeah, just a nice, fantastic adventure, as I tweeted, where stuff is like always happening and just being the end. It was a great ride. I will be sad to go on to something else, but man, super satisfied playing through it. Great experience, up there with the greats. I mean, I wouldn't say it's the best, but you know, still really good. So yeah, it will get my seal of approval or recommendation if you're, you know, in that type of thing, whatever. And that's all I've been playing. God of War is a great ride, fun time. Thoroughly enjoyed it. And no boobs. It was weird. Like, you know, Chris is all about, like, I mean, the other games had like sex and boobs in them.
That was intentional this
like,
time because you know the whole father-son thing
Yeah,
could have
like,
been
this time
inappropriate.
it totally like didn't have any of that. I was like, whoa, there's no boobs, no sex, whatever.
I mean, his
Not that
wife
there's anything wrong
just
with
died. Could have been a little awkward.
Valid
Like, hey,
point.
Dad,
Like-
what you doing behind that bush over there? Oh, nothing's, boy. Just getting my rocks off. Okay, Dad, enjoy.
I think it was kind of overdone. Like, in the first game, okay, fine. It's sort of like a character thing. But then, in the second game, it's like, aren't we in the middle of something? And then all the other games, it was just really random. Yeah. Someday I will play through God of War. As someone who has played all of the God of War games, except
Hilariously
for
enough.
one. Yeah. I will get to it.
Oh, also, there's like this awesome character that is just like the whole time he's with you, and it's just like he never should. I mean, he does like not always talk, but it's like every time he talks, it's great. And then like the blacksmiths are great. It's like, yeah, there's great characters too. So it's like, you know, it's not just Kratos and Atreus, but like, man, Spring Guest, thumbs up.
Cool. Someday. No, I ended up getting Dragon's Crown Pro during a sale.
Yay.
And I remember reading somewhere it's like, oh, you can carry over your save from the PS3 version, or really any of the versions. And I was like, I might do that, but actually I don't really remember what was happening in those, so I might as well just start over. So I started a new game and played through the entire game, sort of. I saw the credits roll, but then the ending is basically like, oh, that wasn't the ending. You gotta do it 2 more times
What?
on increasingly higher difficulty levels. I was like, I see. So I don't know if I'm gonna do that yet. But it was funny because the first time I played it, I guess I got right up to the point right before the game becomes what it is. So if you never played Dragon's Crown, it's basically kind of like Golden Axe or I guess Final Fight if they had weapons all the time. It's just like a 2D brawler, except you're fighting all manners of sort of high fantasy type creatures, spiders and dragons and orcs and things like that. And in the beginning, every time you go out to a level, essentially, it ends after you fight the boss, and then you go back to town, and then you have to like walk around town and find sort of the next story part, and then they'll give you the quest, and then you go out to another mission, and then you go back to town. And it's sort of like that's the cycle that I thought the game was. And throughout my entire the first time I played the game, like that's what it was like. It's like, so I thought the game was like, it's, you know, it looks really good, I guess, you know, art style notwithstanding, because a lot of people may have problems with that. But I thought the pacing was really bad. It was just like, oh, so you do this little bit of fighting, about 10 minutes, and then you have to go back to town and do all this running around and like talking to different people, and then you go out and you do it again. Turns out that is not the loop of the game. It is through the beginning part, but then you get to a point where I guess you're supposed to find these 9 talismans to destroy, to like seal away the dragon or whatever. And then that's when the game, I guess, begins, and you're free of this loop where you have to keep going back to town. In fact, it gives you sort of a risk-reward type choice where you can, once you're out on a mission and you complete it, you get to choose whether you go back to town or not. And if you do go back, then you can like repair your equipment and stuff, which breaks pretty easily. Or you can continue, and it increases the amount of rewards that you get per mission. So it's sort of like a Diablo type. You're out there, and you want to get better and better gear, and more gold.
Gold. I love gold.
So I finally got to that part. I was like, oh, so this is what the game is. Like, well, this is kind of cool. And there's even like a cooking mini game between every few missions or so. And then, so I got all the 9 talismans, and then I fought the dragon. I beat the dragon. I was like, yay, I beat the game. And it played credits, and then after the credits, it's like, you get a little bit of backstory of who your character was, and there's, I think, 8 different characters you can play as. And I was like, oh, so that's cool, a little bit of story. And then it goes back and it says, oh yeah, this there wasn't just one dragon. There were 3 dragons, and the other 2 are older because they've been unleashed for longer. So yeah, you gotta go back and do the same thing again, but now on hard, and then eventually, I guess, on Inferno. I was like, oh, good. So now the grind begins, and it takes so much experience to level up now, and you're basically playing the same levels over and over again. So I don't know if I'm gonna do all of that. Even though, I don't know, I'm fine with sort of loot grinds like this, but it's not. Yeah, I guess we'll see. If I can just sort of sit down and do it, then I can probably do it. But if I think about it, then it feels really tedious to me in my mind. And just like so many other games, I'll think about it and be like, I don't want to do that. So we'll see if I finish it 2 more times. But does that count? I saw the credits.
Yes, it counts.
Yay.
Yes. Did you get a trophy? Because it probably was like, here's a trophy, you finished the game.
Yep.
There you go.
I did get a trophy.
Delivery confirmation. It's like,
cool.
Here you go. In fact, Tropical, I would say that's them being like, you know what, you don't even need to do this 2 more times, because you got, like, you know, if you like the bronze medal, here you go. You don't need the silver gold.
Oh
You
my.
can be a winner even if it's 3rd place. You're still a winner.
Yay. Mediocrity.
I was just about to say, I was like,
Which brings me actually to the second game. It's called Root Letter. It's the other, and I finished this one too.
oh,
Root
really?
Letter is a visual novel, and I kind of thought visual novel meant you don't really play anything. Like there's like a little bit of playing, quote unquote, but it's mostly just like reading, and
That varies from.
you don't really get to affect outcomes or anything like that. And for the most part, that was the case. But then there is a part where, so the story is you're this guy in his like early 30s, and then you had a pen pal in high school, some girl in I guess touristy part of Japan, and then
Nihon, sorry, couldn't help it.
I guess near the end of high school, so you wrote 10 letters back and forth with her. She wrote you 10 letters, and then after you replied to her 10th one, she never responded, and you're sort of like, oh, you're sad because this girl that you thought you were starting to like stopped writing you, and it's like you got dumped. But it was 15 years ago by the time the game starts, and you're sort of in between jobs, so you don't really have anything going on, and you're cleaning your apartment, I guess, to move or something, and you find this letter from her that has no postmark on it, and you open it, and it says, "I have murdered someone."
Good
So.
times.
Yeah, goodbye or something like that. And you're just like, what?
Surprise!
Surprise! I'm a murderer. Enjoy.
Got a
And
secret
so
for you. Didn't know
that
this.
sort of starts you on the path. It's like, I never met this girl, and
Then
now
it gets weird.
now I'm like super curious, so I'm gonna go to the place and go find her.
Oh,
And
Yeah, it gets weird.
have you played it?
Yeah, I mentioned it on the podcast like a long time ago. I mean, I haven't finished it,
Oh, you didn't
but,
finish it?
but
It gets really weird.
it does start to get
Well-
weird.
it's weird.
Like, the beginning is sort of weird, and
Classic Japan.
I was sitting there thinking, it's like, yeah, I don't know anything about Root Letter. All I know is that it's a visual novel. Someone said it was their favorite visual novel, and I was like, okay, I'm going to try it. And I started playing it, and, it starts with that. Or at first I thought, oh, is this going to be one of those, like Tokidoki Memorial High, dating sim type visual novels? And then it starts with the murder thing. It's like, oh, wait, is this going to be one of those, like Corpse Party or something, where it's like a really creepy type visual novel?
Corpse Party is a fun time.
And so you go through it, it's like, it's not mostly creepy until you get to some parts like, okay, that's very like Japanese style creepy stuff, where it seems it's like sometimes Japanese horror has these there's a supernatural element, and it's not so much the supernatural thing that's scary, it's like what people do in response to the supernatural thing. And so, given that, it's like, it doesn't even matter if the supernatural thing is real or not. Like, people are doing a really creepy thing because they
Yeah.
think that it's
I
real.
think it's a thing.
But actually, it doesn't have to be that way. Like, I played through to the end, and I got, like, probably the most normal ending that you could imagine for that setup at the beginning.
He ends up in a bar. That is all.
It's just like, you go around and you're like meeting all of her friends from back in the day, and like they don't want to talk to you, and so you're just like trying to prove. There's like a Phoenix Wright type gameplay mechanic, I guess, where you're like trying to prove that they are who you think they are.
Oh yeah, because they all have like weird nicknames,
Yeah.
which made me question whether they were actually her friends. Because some of those names, I was like, I don't call my friends these things. don't know.
Yeah, that part. Or I think it's mostly like the localization.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Listening to it, it's like, that's like, in English, those names sound way more like
Horrible?
offensive
Because I mean, they are like.
than they were in the Japanese. And then
Is that like a cute? Is that cute in Japanese? People are okay with those things. Like I'd be kind of pissed. Like, what did you call me? It's like, oh no, it's like this cute little nickname I have for you is all. It's like,
Is
don't.
it cute?
It's like, don't. I don't know.
Yeah, they're really weird. But you basically like are going around trying to prove that. You're going around trying to prove that they are who they are, and then you meet all of them, and then like, so I finished it, and I had this super normal ending, and then after the credits, it tells you, oh, so you actually don't know everything yet. In fact, there are 4 other endings, and now we've unlocked some like new stuff you can affect Like there's only one part of the game where you have any choice in what you do. The other choices are like fake choices. They're sort of like the world is in danger. Will you accept this quest? And if you select no, most of the time the game is just like,
But
are you sure? It doesn't actually go, oh yeah, okay, sorry.
Like, all right, you don't want to do it?
Over. I guess
Guess
I'll
to the
find
next
someone
time.
else.
Yeah.
Sell your game.
It's like, it's dangerous to go alone. Take this. I don't want to. Okay, fine. I'll give it to someone else that comes along, I guess.
But yeah, there is one aspect of the game where you actually get a choice, and it doesn't seem to matter much until you find out that there are multiple endings. And then,
Although
then
the letters
just
are
like,
kind of like
yeah,
choice.
like that's the only part you can choose. Everything else, in fact, the feature that it unlocked at the end of my first playthrough was the ability to skip chapters. So I was basically like, oh, so all I have to do is the letter response, and then I can skip to the next chapter because, you know, the rest of it, you have no choice. It's like you always figure out who it is. It doesn't matter how you do it because there's only one way to do it. So if there's only one way, and it happens no matter what, if you get through it, then why doesn't the game just do it for me? Which it can when you choose skip to next chapter. So, yeah, at first when I got that ending, I was like, "That's it." And then it's like, "Oh, there's a different ending." So, do I have to play through this 5 times? It's like, oh my gosh. But I found that feature. I was like, oh, cool. So I've seen 2 endings. I saw my super normal one, and then I saw like the most horror movie ending.
Oh my!
And I don't know how I got it, but like,
It's like all I said was hi to one person. That's all I did.
The horror movie ending is pretty bad. Like,
Oh
it's
my.
the worst possible conclusion.
Everyone dies. Also, it turns out she was Godzilla. Like, I don't know how that happened.
So yeah, I don't know if. Well, so this is one of my middle segment things, but like Dragon's Crown and then Root Letter, both games, like they end kind of unsatisfactorily unless you play through them multiple times, or it seems like that. Like it really, the ending really threw me off. It was like during the game, it presented me with so many like weird but possibly really interesting possibilities for how this could go. And then it ended as like, what? That's it? That's it? And yeah, my wife was watching, like she's been watching me play the game, and then she saw I was like, that's it? And so she looked up some of the other on YouTube and
She was confused.
Yeah, she was like, why did you get that ending? Like, is it because you're just really boring in real life?
Wow.
Like, and it was like,
I love you too, honey. Like, oh. Wow.
I've come to believe, like after getting the second one, that that's the only ending you can get the first time you play it.
It's like you have no choice but to
Yeah.
do that.
Or I don't know. I guess I could try it again, but it did take like 10, 11 hours to get there.
It takes a while. I'm about to say it's not a short.
It was not as short as I thought it would be.
Those visual novels.
Because you would think, oh, visual novel, you know, if I read faster, it will be shorter, right? Not necessarily so. And then, yeah, it does sort of have a game mechanic type thing as well. So that was, it was very interesting.
I should point out these kind of things vary from visual novel to visual novel. They don't all have like gameplay-y aspects to them. Some of them are just straight up reading. Lots of reading.
I don't know if you've played it, but the one I want to play is Hakuoki. It's like, it looks like pre-Meiji samurai type stuff.
It sounds familiar. It sounds familiar.
I think it's on. I don't think I ever bought it, but I'm pretty sure it's on PlayStation Now. Now.
Is it like on the Vita? Or
There was one on the Vita, I think. And I don't know if like it was a series or if all those were remakes of the same game for different systems.
probably.
But yeah, I am not sure why I decided to play Roulette, but it like finishing it was kind of cool because it showed me something. It's like, you know what? I think I can just like sit down and if I just decide to play it, then I can finish it like a movie.
A very long movie.
Yeah. I finished, TV series, so this is like that, except I have to do stuff.
That's one way to look at it, I guess.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, what else did I play? Oh, well, so there's like 1 day left in the current season of Fortnite.
Oh no.
And I made the mistake of not doing the challenges the week of. Like a few weeks ago, I think I mentioned that I found out if you don't do the challenges during the week that they're released, they don't disappear. Like you can just do them whenever, as long as it's before the end of the season. And I was like, cool. But that realization made me like slack off the rest of the season. So weeks 4 through 10, I did none of the challenges. I played like no Fortnite, and now I'm 1 day away from the end of the season. And I was like, do I even try? Do I even try, or do I just say forget it? There's no way I can get all of them.
You should have tried.
I'm not sure what I'm gonna do. There's 1 day left, so if I put in some time tomorrow, maybe I can get all of them. Because the thing is, you do more stuff than is actually in the challenges, and now that there's so many challenges, like I can. Some of them, it's easier to accomplish more than one in a single game, even. So maybe this is the efficient way to do them all. Yeah.
Do them all last minute and hope for the best?
Well, maybe not, a day before the end, but like during the last week. Because all of the challenges will be open, and so you can say, okay, these are the challenges that need to be done. And each week there was something like, oh, do this much damage with a certain weapon, and it was just like that one weapon for that week. And so in practice that meant you went out into the field and hoped that you found that weapon. And if you didn't find that weapon, then that was sort of like a wasted run if you're trying to do that challenge. But now it's like I have 6 weeks of challenges, and each one has a different weapon challenge. So now it's like no matter what game I go into, at least for now, since I haven't done any of them, no matter what weapon I find, I can accomplish one of the challenges. So maybe. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Which may mean that I won't do it. Like today, I was like, I'm gonna do Fortnite challenges, and then I ended up getting like a second ending in Roulette.
Well, you were curious. It's the ghost. It's the ghost that's doing it, man.
Wait, how far did you get?
Not very.
Okay.
I did like, I think I got to like 4 or 5 chapters or something.
How many like people did you expose for who they were?
That's a good question. I have no idea. Because it's been a while since I played, so I don't remember anything except that it was about a girl sending you a letter that said she murdered a person. You're just like, let me go get in on this real quick. It's like, I don't. Like, somebody sent me a letter saying they killed somebody. I wouldn't investigate. I'd be like, all right, not gonna be held as an accessory for this nonsense. So.
It's funny because the ending that I got the first time, it was just like totally normal, and it felt sort of realistic, I guess, because it was really sort of okay, there's all this stuff and there's all these weird possibilities, but in the end it was just like, nope, it was, Occam's razor. Like, it was the easiest
exactly. Like, nope, this is all exactly how it happened. Because, I mean, over the course of the story, they try to drop hints about certain things and just like, maybe this isn't a thing. Maybe she's actually a ghost. Maybe you're insane. It's like all these.
Yeah, and there was one that I found particularly creepy. Like, I was playing this really late at night when I saw this part of the story, and I was like, that's pretty creepy, and it doesn't even matter if it's real or not. Like, this is the thing I was talking about. I was like, it doesn't matter if it's real or not. It's like the thing that they did because they thought it was real. That's the creepy thing. So you can't tell them that it's not real, or you can't tell me that the thing that they believe is not real. Like, that doesn't matter. They're already doing the creepy thing.
It's like, you're already doing it. You're already doing it.
And then, like, the second ending I got, like, it goes down like that path. I was just like, oh my gosh.
I saw an anime like similar to that. I think it was called Another or something like that. Mm-hmm. And it's like one of the girls in the class was like, they were like, oh no, she died forever and a day ago. And then it just got weird. It's like, well, this is happening. So, yeah.
It's really insane. Like, I just kind of want to tell you. So it's basically,
tell me.
So this girl died 25 years ago of illness, and they say that because she died so young and she was still in high school, like she had what's that thing where the spirits, like, they stay behind because they have unfinished business or whatever.
Purgatory?
No, not the Grudge.
The Grudge? You mean like the Grudge?
They linger in the living world because they have unfinished business. Like, they didn't finish the thing that they want to do, and so, like, she stayed and haunts the school. One classroom in particular, it was like her classroom, and then, like, her best friend from life, like, died a few days later, and so the year after, someone else died in that class, and so the students start saying, oh, that girl who died 2 years ago, like, she haunts this classroom, and she, like, takes someone with her every year because she's lonely.
That's
like she
the
wants
plot
a
to
friend.
Another. Oh my goodness. It's just like that anime I saw.
She wants a friend, and they're like, well, no one wants to be a friend to a ghost, so what do we do? And so they started sort of this, like, when you don't know what to do, confronted by the unknown, you make something up. And they made up this ritual where they're like, okay, so she wants a friend, right? But none of us want to be her friend because then you die. So we're going to go out and find her a friend, like, somewhere out there. We're gonna find someone looking for a pen pal, and then we're gonna write letters to this person as the girl, and then receive the responses and give them to the girl. And that way, she has a friend out there, so she won't kill any of us. She'll just kill whoever it is who's unfortunate enough to get it. To get roped into this thing. Darn. And I'm just like, that's freaky. It's 11. I'm sitting here in the dark.
Like, why did I think this was a good idea?
I did not know that this game would go here. Like, I kind of thought it was kind of creepy, but not like this.
I actually thought that's exactly where it was going to go when I was playing it. I was like, no, this is definitely going to end up with her having been dead for years, and it's like some ghost writing or something. But then, if you said there's a normal ending, then that means there's a good chance she actually did exist. And she's like, yep, I murdered a person. I sent you that letter. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. Enjoy.
Yeah, that part was really like, oh, wait, I'm the pen pal.
And then there's like a knock at your door at the end of the morning. It's like, no! Nobody's home!
Oh no! Turns out it's just your daughter wanting pancakes.
Yeah, it's just like
You sleep.
I saw that part. I was like, wow, this is really freaky. But then they, as you play more and more, like they introduce weirder and weirder explanations. There's like more and more far-fetched stuff. And it's like, what is going on? Like I don't understand what is happening anymore. Like that first one was kind of like, okay, that's cool, but also super scary. And then the next one was like they go places like UFOs and like
I just about to say
monsters. And I'm just like, what is
be.
happening? I was like, I mean, I suppose, you know, if there are ghosts, like, what is to say that there aren't UFOs and all the other stuff? But yeah, like, I found it pretty compelling. And then,
I just thought like a weird hypothetical. It's like, maybe if we contact another sentient species, they can all be her friend, and we won't even have to worry about it ever again. I mean,
yes.
kind of galactic genocide, but whatever, man. None of us are going down, so...
If they ever did the Ring 2000, well, back before the year 2000, it would have been in space, and that's what they would have been doing.
Probably. Although they did end up making rings, so I mean, maybe the sequel to that would be...
Did you see Rings?
I did, because I was curious, because I was like, well, how does this work? VHSs don't exist anymore. Like, what is even this? So then they did the logical thing, and yeah.
No, YouTube is tainted forever.
Basically, yes. Basically, yes. But all because somebody wanted to experiment with something. Like, I don't understand this. I never understand this. People, like, they hear these things, they're like, I heard this rumor of this video can kill people. Let me upload it on the internet. Hey, everyone, watch this real quick. And it's like, I don't think this is a good idea, guys. I really don't think this is a good idea. But then they do it. And then it becomes a thing. It becomes a thing. Just like, it's fine. It's fine, everyone. It's fine. We warn ourselves, but we still go ahead and do these things anyway. So, you know, it's fine. It's all fine. So,
yeah, it was kind of neat. Like, you sort of learn the backstories of all the characters, and like, oh, and you find out, you know, what the letters were really about, because she wrote them about her friends, and you're just like, I don't know any of these people. So, but then you go, it's like, oh, now I know some stuff. I was like, oh, that's cool. And then, yeah, then there was mine where I was like, oh, it was nothing. I just looked at my playtime right before I saw the ending, and I saw the ending. I was like, 11 hours for that?
Give me some ghost, man.
Yeah, then the second time, it only took me like an hour to get through, because skipping all of the game makes it very short. The only part you can't skip is the last 3 chapters, which I guess is where all the divergences occur if you do different stuff in the letters. And then, yeah, I think I might actually go and try to see all the endings, because I think there's only 4 or 5. I'm not really sure how they counted them. Yeah, I was like, oh, I got a kind of like middle of the road, not very interesting ending, and then I got a super like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that's how this ending. And then and then it said there's 3 more. But there's a lot of like typos and stuff in the game.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, I was like, because going through it, I was like, this is not translated very well, I'm guessing, because...
You can sit there and be like, oh, I understand what you meant. And in fact, when I read it quickly, that's what I read. But now looking at it closely, those words should not be in that order. Yeah, other than that, it's like, that was neat. I think I'll just...
I don't know, sometimes I found myself having difficulty figuring out how to respond to the letters because of the way it's... I don't know if it's because of the way it's set up or something, because I would do it and I'm just like, that seems right? I don't know. Because she'd be like, so I went to the grocery store, and I'd be like, I love sports. I'm like, I don't. I don't know if I did this right. I don't know if I did this right.
Well, like, the first time it says you can reply to the letters, it says something like, "Oh, try to figure out what she means," and I, I was like, "What are you talking about?" I look at the she'll like write a question in the postscript, and I was like, "Well, it seems really clear what she means, unless are we like looking for hidden meaning or something?" And then you look at the replies that it allows you to do, and it's like, none of these.
Exactly.
Like, I don't understand what I'm supposed to be doing. Like, how do these indicate any understanding of what she means?
She's like, so how do you like to sleep? And you're like, I played tennis in high school. It's like, I don't think that's. You know what? Fine. We'll go with this. We'll go with this. Like, this is fine. It's like rum, my favorite alcohol. It's like I don't. Who translated this? Who translated these? Because I don't think this is right.
Actually, it was funny. Like, at one point, I sort of freaked myself out with like sort of another like, "Ooh, what's happening?" type scenario in my mind, because I was playing, and basically at the beginning of each chapter, you reread another letter from 15 years ago that she wrote, and then you respond to it. And like most of the response is already written, but you get to respond in the postscript, and like oftentimes you'll write a statement or something, and then you can write like a question back to her, answering her postscript basically. And at one point, for some reason, I thought that like you were reading the letters out of order. But then like all of the responses were in order. And I was like, wait a minute, what's happening here? Like, how could she know that when this is the 8th letter, and I wrote that question, in the 10th letter? I was like, oh, is there a time travel aspect too? Am I affecting the past by writing this stuff now? Is this like butterfly effect? That was also a scary movie.
Well, it's debatable how scary that one was, but yeah.
And then I was like, oh wait, that doesn't make sense. Does it? No, I don't think it does. It was really funny. I think that occurred like right before I saw the creepy part, and I was just like, oh, I'm scared now. It's midnight.
You psyched yourself out. It's
Yeah.
like, just kidding, everyone. Just kidding.
But yeah, that's I think that's all I've been playing.
Get it together, Tropical.
I finished 2 games. I saw the credits 3 times on 2 games.
Oh my. I did not. So I mean, most of the stuff I've been playing has been pretty brief because again, I've been working like a crazy person. But I started playing Absolver once I downloaded it, but it was like super brief. So I more or less just like made my character and then like fooled around with it a little bit to kind of like see how that whole thing works. So it was like, oh, this is like kind of like a fighting RPG type deal. So that's happened, but I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure like how the game works itself, because I don't know if it's like a PvE type thing or if it's just going to be all PvP once you like get out of the tutorial part of the thingy, I guess. So it's like so I started playing it and just the different stuff and everything, but it's kind of like it's kind of just like you basically go around and fight people. There doesn't seem to be like any actual like story or anything to it. So you're basically just running around punching dudes and then going about your business kind of deal. So I don't know how invested I would get in that, but I mean, once you do get to like level up and stuff, so you'd start I guess like building up your stats and everything to make you a better fighter, and you kind of just keep doing that to be the master, I guess. And then yeah, that's pretty much it, I think.
Is this all other players or
I
Is
think
it
I think
NPCs?
it is because I mean in the tutorial part it's just like you fight against NPCs because they're teaching you how to do stuff. But then I think after that it's just all you running into people in the world or whatever, and you guys beating the crap out of each other. So it's just like, but I'm not like I said, I'm not like entirely sure because I only played it briefly. It's possible that there's more to it, I guess. But I think when the game was initially like announced or whatever, they kind of mentioned it was mostly like a PvP type fighting RPG thing. So it might just be mostly other players. But who knows? Who knows? I am not good at fighting games, so I would probably not be able to play this game then because I'm just like, there's too many people out there who are like really good at these kinds of things, and then I just not be having fun, and I don't know. I don't know. It may be similar to like For Honor, maybe. It'll probably be the closest thing that's been released that it might be similar to, except that you're kind of just in an open world type environment, so there's that, I think. So, but I don't know. I don't know. Other than that, I picked up Shining Resonance Refrain. I think this game was actually released for the PS3 or something like some time ago in Japan, but never came out over here. But I guess it's like a spin-off of I think the name of the series is Shining Force or something like that. So. So yeah, but I have I don't have much familiarity with the series itself. So who even knows if they're connected or not? So, but the game, it reminds me a lot of like the Tales series and like how it's set up, because it's like the art style is very similar, and even like how the battle system kind of plays out is similar, because it's like they're both action RPGs, but and it's kind of like it has like this art system and everything too, but it's not as, I guess, like it's not as like in depth as the Tales series is, so you don't have to like be like a combo master for anything, but you can still like chain together attacks and stuff and do like special moves or whatever. But it's very similar and set up with the like the style and the type of gameplay it is. So it's kind of fun for now. But the story has stuff to do with dragons and Ragnarok and all this other nonsense. So I guess we'll see how that plays out later on. But yeah, I haven't like played too much of it because it did just come out today. So I mean, I only had like a little bit of playtime with it. But we shall see how that goes. But that's all I've been playing basically. So yeah.
Okie dokie. Just one more thing to add about Disney 2 is that we finally got like 3 5-star clears in a week, so we are ready for the Prestige Raiders. But then they have like loadouts for those, so I guess we'll see how that goes, but whatever, so meh.
Did you guys also write letters to Ghost Girls?
No, we did not.
Disappointed.
Why would we do this?
She wants a friend, Tekken. She just wants a friend. Just feed into the grudge.
RPG.
Creepy.
I'm not even gonna go where I was about to go with that. That was weird.
So what would you do, Tropical, if somebody did start sending you letters all of a sudden as a pen pal, and now having played this, would you still respond in kind, or would you be like immediately suspicious and be like, you're definitely trying to get me murdered?
Oh, if I hadn't played this, or wait, if I had
well,
played
now
this,
that you have played
now that
this.
I have played this. I mean, yeah, I don't think I would be suspicious of that, but I also don't think it would last very long because I'm just not good at correspondence.
You do like half a letter and it's like, yeah, this is fine.
Well, so what it kind of reminds me of is like chain letters, right? Like back in the day.
Those were a thing back then, weren't they?
Yeah, and before email, and really, I don't think I had a printer at home. It was like you had to write it.
Oh.
And so, yeah, the one time it happened to me, someone gave me a chain letter, and I was just like, I don't know what to do with this. And so I did nothing.
There's actually a horror movie called
maybe?
Chain Letter. So
Oh, really?
don't watch that then.
I was very young. I was like third grade or fourth grade, and someone gave me one. And I was like, well, that sucks, but also I don't want to deal with this. So I was like, I did nothing. And it was like a large number too. It was like 20 copies. I was like, really? No.
Like, F that. Just F all of that.
Things will happen. It's like, bad things will happen. Yeah, a bad thing is happening. I have to write 20 copies of this? No.
Oh, that is great.
I didn't. But yeah, it was kind of like scary to me. I was like, oh my gosh, what's gonna happen?
But then nothing ever happened.
I do not recall.
You grew up, you got married, you had a kid, life's going on. It's like, yeah, yep, no chain letter badness going on right now. Still fine.
Did I tell you about what happened to me after I saw The Ring?
No.
I don't.
It was.
Did you
really
die after
weird.
7 days?
No, but it was really weird. Like, I had 7 days of like very strange sleep,
Oh, dear.
and like I was in college, so and one thing I did in college was like I would watch TV going to sleep, and like maybe 80% of the time I would forget to turn off my TV. And one of those nights after I saw The Ring, and it was the American Ring, so you know most of the movie, like visual wise, there really isn't that much scary stuff in that one. There's only like one sort of like jump scare part when you see the face of that one kid who died, and then like I guess the end where she comes out of the screen and she's all like
Ghost girly
and
twitchy.
all that. And so, but yeah, other than that, it's like it wasn't that scary. But I guess if you think about it, like the idea behind it was scary because it's like that's the thing that they took from the original. And so I was like,
I haven't seen any of the original versions of these, like the
I've never
Japanese
seen any of the
horror
original
ones.
ones either.
Because there was like that period of time where there's like a bunch of them. Because it was just like The Ring, The Grudge, Shudder. There was one about like cell phones or something. It was like so many of them. But it's like even watching that, I was like, well, this is ridiculous because this would not work in like a real scenario. But it's like it's fine. It's fine. But yeah, none of them were like none of them were ever just like it didn't make sense to me. I don't know if it's just like maybe it's because of the cultural difference, maybe, but
Maybe.
it seemed, you know.
Well, I mean, at this time, like when I saw The Ring, I actually owned a VCR and everything, so it wasn't like too far. It wasn't like, well, now it's like, what are they doing? How are they watching? What is that? Like, what's that black box
True.
thing?
It's like what is this?
I don't understand. Like, is this just on cable? It's like, no, that's a tape.
Is this on cable? Could you imagine? It's like, no, our late night showing of the death video. Joy. It's like, what's happening right now?
But anyway, like the movie itself, I didn't find that scary while watching it. Afterwards, thinking about it, I was like, okay, it's kind of creepy, but you know, mentally, I don't think it really affected me. But then, yeah, that whole week I had really weird sleep, and that one night, so it made sense to me that the TV was on when I woke up in the dark in the middle of the night. But then, like looking at the screen, it was like this old haggard lady, and she was like yelling out of the screen.
What were you watching?
I have no idea. Well, I had been watching something else, you know, around 11 p.m. So at 2 or 3 a.m., like I had no idea what was on, and it was just really insane. Like I saw this, and it was just really weird because you know usually people don't look into the camera. In most shows, like they look at the person that they're talking to in the scene or whatever. They're not looking out of the screen. And this one, she was like yelling and out of the screen, and I was like, So I just like got up and turned off the TV and lay back down. I was like, that was weird. But yeah, like after 7 days, then it was like there was nothing, and I was like sleeping fine. But those 7 days, like the nights were very strange, It was like, I don't understand what is happening. Could it be? Like, nah.
You've got the
I mean,
curse.
especially like my TV is really high up and it's like a 20-inch. So if she did crawl out of the TV, she would be really tiny and she would fall off the shelf first.
I mean, I should point out though, like in the movies though, when she crawls out, she does turn into like a normal-sized person. I think the TV was more just like a portal thing.
They did have a big TV though. Like they showed a giant TV, and it was on a normal TV stand. So when she crawled out, it was like it all looked like it made sense. But then for mine, like I can't imagine what this would look like. It's like 6 feet off the ground, and so and it's like 20 inches. So she'll be tiny and be like, ah!
It's like I'm here to kill you. It'll be like that Buffy episode when the fear demon came out and it turned out to be like this little tiny demon thing and she just stepped on him to kill him. And just like, oh. You didn't read the fine print. It says actual size. And then she steps on him. But I mean, but no, because like in the other movies, maybe it was Rings that did it. Because there was one where I think somebody was on like a plane or something and she was coming out of like one of the little small, or she was like on the little small monitor thingies in the thing before she like all her hair started wrapping around everybody and all that other nonsense. But I don't think the size of the TV matters. She's a ghost girl, tropical.
I'd never seen that one, so I could not imagine what it would look like. Like the only thing I could imagine was hilarious. So I'm just like, well, I'm not worried about that. But yeah, like it was really scary. I did not feel it at the time, but it was just like, why was that old lady like yelling out of the screen? And there was no sound either. It was like, I'm pretty sure I was watching a show with sound, and it was sort of like black and white. And well, really the thing that struck me was like it was straight at. If it was filmed, it was like
the curse. Wait, have you've lived in Japan before, or?
I've not, but I've lived in Asia before. But no, this was
that
this was
I know. From there, but because I was about to say, because maybe you have had a chance to be like immersed in whatever thing would it explain why they do why they're into that kind of stuff, I guess.
Why they're into that kind of stuff?
Well, no, I'm saying because like their horror style is like a lot of their movies are a lot different from our horror styles over here. Because like in America, there's a lot more like slashers and like torture porn type horror movies, but for them it's like more supernatural and psychological type,
like cerebral things. Like ooh, this is a creepy thing.
Yeah, and it's a lot different from just having like a physical person being like chasing you down and like chopping you into pieces, as opposed to like someone who can just be anywhere.
Like cultural or religious things with like all the weird Shinto demons that they have, and like how there's always like a moral behind each one. And they have like so many weird stories.
Because like that's what I'm saying. Because like some of them are, because because I mean I think some of them do have like the whole moral of like, because like with the Signal one, I think it was like cell phones are bad, but it's like, I guess, but yeah, it's like some things just like, because I mean there are a lot of things that we are very dependent on now, which is probably how some of these concepts come into being, but. I don't know. Because like there's a very big difference between some of their horror movies and ours, so I don't.
I mean, yeah, I guess like part of it is, well, it's weird, right? Like a lot of horror movies in America are about, sort of dumb kids, almost basically, like getting killed because they're dumb.
Because you're doing stupid stuff, man. It's like you're doing stupid stuff, man. You're doing
like
stupid
a power
stuff.
fantasy thing. It's like old people just want to kill dumb kids.
Very, very distinct possibility.
You're making me like remember back in middle school when I was taking Japanese class and we read like the Japanese version of Little Red Riding Hood, or it's called like Akazuki, and it's like way different and like weird compared to like the American version. So it's like, maybe this is just like a cultural difference thing.
Well, I should point out that some of those fables are like a lot different than what you've actually heard the versions of, because some of them are very, very, very dark. So they would not be suitable for children learning these things. So a lot of the versions you've heard are actually not the original versions of them. So That's
I
probably
guess.
why.
Well, so in America, like, who would you say is the target like age group for horror movies?
Younger people.
So like old style, like before The Ring. Like it was really The Ring, right? That sort of changed horror in the West, also, or they
Yeah, 'cause
started making movies more like that.
more supernaturally stuff. in
Before
them.
that, it was like Nightmare on Elm Street and Halloween.
Actually, Todd, well, that's a good point you bring up because like I think like in that era, that was also when like you would get like year-round horror movies. It became like such a huge genre. It like came back and it was just like
Yeah,
returning after being dormant and like not as popular.
because it got kind of, I think, samey, and it just became like,
Yeah, the market.
how
the
much
market was
more
saturated.
gore can we put in this thing? Like, when did Saw came out after Japan's The Ring, right?
I want to say it did because I mean
Yeah, I
because the
agree.
Saw series ended up because that's when the whole torture porn series kind of happened. 'Cause then it
Right.
was just like, now everyone, let's see how bloody we can make this, and then it got kind of carried away, and then yeah, then it kind of died down.
I mean, I guess the thing is like, one thing I noticed is it feels like in the U.S., and I don't have any experience in Europe or whatever, so I don't know. But in the U.S., it feels like there's this sense that children can't handle anything, essentially. And so,
Protect the children.
like when I watched anime and I was like in anime clubs and stuff like that was one of the things I noticed. Like, there are shows in Japan that are clearly for children, but involve like like kids dying and stuff, and like death and lots of like sort of creepy things. And it's like, and there doesn't seem to be this sort of sense that, why are these things in this children's show? Like, they shouldn't be in these shows. Like, these are for kids. Kids don't understand anything. It should all be like Teletubby.
It's true.
Ridiculously saccharine type things.
What do you mean it's not for kids?
I don't know, maybe if that has something to do with it. Like, so when you get to sort of the age where your culture thinks that, oh, you can handle these things, like they have to serve different purposes. So it's like kids in the US are like, now they're grown up to teenagers, what do they really want to see now? It's like, well, they want to see people getting ripped apart and blood because they didn't get any of that when they were kids.
Oh my.
I mean, in Japan, it's like, that's sort of like, okay, that's sort of kid stuff now. Like, what do they want as adults? And it's like, well, they want, sort of the thinking man's horror. I don't know.
I think to an extent that is true, though. It just seems like, with all the, like, Disney, Nickelodeon, it's very sterilized as far as, like, nothing bad or scary ever
Yeah.
happens.
Like really bad stuff doesn't happen. Like Gundam. Who do you think Gundam is for? Here it's like college students and like, anime fans. And like, I was watching, really small kids watch Gundam in Asia.
Well, the same thing with like Evangelion. I mean,
Yeah.
that show you probably wouldn't want to show your child, but I mean,
Get in the Eva, Kenji. It's like, no, Dad, don't make me.
It's like Gundam makes a point of showing the pilot inside every time a mecha explodes.
it's like, just so you know, this guy
Just
is
so you
dying.
Definitely someone died when that mecha was destroyed. But in the US, it's like, oh, look at all the car crashes. Like, you don't even think that, oh yeah, there were people in all those. Like the Marvel movies is like, those cars were driving, right, when they got all exploded.
It's
So
true. It's like
what happened to the people? Well, they're all dead, but we're not
Like
going
all
to
these
mention it ever.
occupied buildings that get exploded when people are fighting giant aliens and stuff. It's like, oh no. But it's one of those things you don't really think about because I mean, a lot of those movies are like kind of bloodless. Like you said, it's like they're trying to protect everybody. Whereas
Yeah.
like other stuff, you'd be like, oh, look at all these people getting burned alive as these things are exploding. Oh dear. Oh dear. So
Yeah, I wonder if it's just like the audiences wanted different stuff, and then in the States, like eventually people got desensitized anyway, so then they had to go, and then they luckily I guess found this different kind of horror. It's like, oh my gosh, there's psychological horror. We can make quiet horror movies. That was insane. Like The Ring, you don't see anyone. I don't. Was there any blood in that movie?
there was
I don't
not.
even know.
That's
Yeah, I don't
that's
think
not
so.
how those work.
There's like, oh man, Cabin in the Woods, I guess, is like a parody, right? So there's like
It is
ridiculous
kind
amounts of blood.
but I think it was to make a point. It was
There's more blood than there possibly could have been in that few bodies.
It's like I don't even think we hold that many. I don't think that's possible. No, that's not even.
But then again, like, so you've seen The Shining then, right? Because I haven't. Was that's sort of a cerebral?
Oh, I've only
Yes.
I only know of it through reputation. I've never actually
Okay.
like seen it.
Yeah, I've never seen it either. From what it feels like, the most sort of quoted parts of The Shining, it feels like it was possibly a cerebral type horror movie. I don't know. Maybe it's actually just cycles. We're just on a different cycle with Japan's horror.
Possibly.
Someday they will have really bloody. Their other stuff is really bloody. Chinese shows, like you watch Chinese shows, and it's like, you guys really have no idea how guns work.
Ah.
You're not Americans.
It's like I'm sure this is how that works. You throw the gun right, and then it pierces them. Don't.
Well, they use them, but then like the effect that you see the guns have is like, that is like extremely exaggerated.
Explosive rounds.
All the time, every gun, even
I
the
was about to
ones
say
from
like, all of
World War
them.
II.
It's like, sure, it couldn't hold this type of ammo, but I mean, why not? Why not?
Well, okay, so we've kind of started having this battle royale, free for all, whatever, middle segment. You can see all the planning that went into episode 400.
You're welcome.
No, yeah. So one of the things I noticed with the two games I played this week was that they sort of require you to play them more than once. Otherwise, you have this sort of unsatisfying ending. And I started thinking, like, that's weird. Like, are there any Western games that do that?
I don't think so.
I can't think of any.
It seems like in the West, it's designed to, like, you play through it once and you'll be able to walk away satisfied, but you have the option to like play through again and like maybe take different routes or see other things, but it's
Yeah.
not going to be like a.
Although at the same
You'll
time, do
feel-
they have Western versions of these kinds of games though? Because I mean,
Well, I mean, Dragon's Crown is basically Diablo from a different point of view, and the gameplay is different, but sort of the grind and what you're going for is kind of the same, and you're just even story wise is kind of the same. You're trying to defeat some sort of evil that's been unleashed. But then Diablo, like, it ends and you're like, oh, we did that. We did everything and it was great. And now I'm going to go back and grind for these items or whatever. Whereas Dragon's Crown is like, yay, you did it. Or did you? No, actually you didn't. There's other stuff to do, so get back in there. And yeah, Root Letter really was like nothing, the end. Or was it? it wasn't the end. Go back and play it 4 more times. And I can't, like, I wonder if it is just a thing that Japanese developers do. Because I started thinking, like, are there any Western games that end really unsatisfactorily unless you play through twice or 3 times? Because I can think of lots of Japanese games that are like that. These two, Final Fantasy 13-2, I guess, has a unsatisfactory ending if you just play through it once. 10-2,
I don't know about
like,
that. They don't really
ending or whatever is a 2 playthrough minimum.
I wouldn't say 10-2 is a 2 playthrough minimum.
I don't think 13-2 was either, actually.
I got my satisfaction out of 10-2. But then again, I was like, towards the end, I was kind of like, oh, after I got the reveals of like, oh, this is what this is, I was like, I was at peace with it. I was like, I do not need to see the air quote true ending, because it's like, oh, it's not even what I thought it was, so, meh.
Yeah, what I thought of when I first noticed this was like, is this sort of how big developers in Japan extend their playtime? Like here, big developers extend playtime by, well, now it's DLC, but before for a while it was like multiplayer, online multiplayer, or it was randomly generated everything. So every time you play the game is different. And so like roguelikes, basically you have to play them over and over and over again. And that's okay, it's because it's always different. And that's how they make playtime. And Japanese games is like, we'll make playtime by giving you a better ending if you play it more times. And we're not giving you different stuff to play. We're giving you the same thing to play, but you want to play through it more than once because you want to see the good ending. Or, yeah.
I mean, although it kind of depends, I mean, I guess it's kind of subjective on what you consider, I guess, like, a good ending. Because, like, the normal ending you got for Root Letter was likely just, like, it may have been unsatisfactory only because of you're probably expecting for something to get weird, but then they're just like, no, this is real life, man. This is how stuff works. So then it's like it just seemed that way, but then it's like they give you the other endings because they're like, okay, you do want it to get weird, don't you? So then they give you those because they're just like, yes, we can make it weird if you want, but the ending you got was pretty much how that was supposed to go. So I think it's just more of a subjective thing in those regards. Because I mean, there are some games that do basically require that you kind of like do that kind of stuff. Because like the whole 999 series is like the king of that one. But it's like it's required. But they do change things up a little bit and allow you to kind of like play around with things in order so it's not like you doing the same thing over and over again to get these endings. But it's like it kind of depends, I guess, on the game and the developer, because some people do it in interesting ways, and so it's not just like you're kind of just playing through over and over again just to see the other endings, but it's like you're doing it because of certain things, and it's because of it makes sense within the universe and mythos of the game itself. But again, I haven't finished Root Letter, so I don't know how that goes. But it's like I said, it makes sense in like the 999 series. It makes sense with the way they did it and why it's been done, that kind of thing. So it's like oh yeah, I can totally see why we would do this, but and why I would have to play this multiple times to kind of understand what's going on. But I guess it may depend. But I mean, I haven't played a Western game where I've had to do that had multiple endings, so I don't think I played a lot of Western games in general. But
that's weird. Like I can't think of any that have something like that. Like every ending feels satisfactory, even if it's meant to have multiple endings. And sometimes they encourage you to like play through it again to see the other ending, but it's not like the ending that you got was inferior feeling. It's just like all of them are equally satisfying, or maybe they're different, but they're like equally valid. Like the Infamous games, there's 2 endings, but like neither of them feels like well, if you just got this ending, then it was sort of blah ending, and if you got this ending, then it was like, oh, it was awesome. They're like both kind of like, ooh, that was an interesting ending. But yeah, so another one is Near Automata, a game like it has multiple endings, right?
Oh, I didn't even think about that one, but it has like 26 endings or some nonsense.
Okay.
So I mean, who even knows? But I think some of them are like kind of like joke endings, so you don't actually have to like.
They're not all equally.
You don't have to like play through it multiple times
Like,
specifically to get them kind of thing. Because there's
is
some like
the
the one where
first
you
ending- Or wait, does that one like have multiple endings that you can just get to at any time, or is it?
Yeah.
I think so.
Okay.
Because like I said, there was like there's one ending I got where I like ate the thing that they told me not to eat or whatever, and they're just like, we told you not to.
Or if you
and
remove
it's
your
like,
OS chip or whatever.
or if you remove your OS chip, when they once again they warn you, it's like, don't do this. It's suicide. And it's like, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. And then and it basically is like, well, fine. Here's your ending because we warned you. So there are some like that, but.
It also seems like in the West, it's more of a like an anchor point of like when you get to the end, you have these choices that you make. It's not really you're at any point you can do something that like gets you to the end, like in near. It's just like you like in Far Cry 4, I think. It's like you have a series of events at the end where it's like, okay, well, if you do this and do this and do this, you get this ending. Or if you do this and do this and do this, you get this ending. Or like in Far Cry 3, where it's like you have the stay with the tattoo people or leave the tattoo people or whatever that. And it's like that was the whole thing of like I never went back and looked at like the bad endings. I was like, why would I do that? That's just weird to me. No, thanks, no.
I mean, I've done that out of curiosity sometimes because I mean, like I know there's like people usually want to avoid bad endings, but for me, I'm always just like, I wonder how bad this really is because like with what was it, Persona 4, there is multiple endings in the sense that there's like a golden ending, a regular good ending, but then there's a bad ending. But it's like you can actually do. I think Persona 3 can do it too. It's like, but you can save right before the actual choice that would give you all of these things. So it's like it's not something where you would have to like replay the entire game. And it's like, oh no, I have to play through 70 hours of game in order to get to see what this is. So it's like you can. It's like they make so it's like more of a crucial point where you can kind of save right before, and then you can just go through the scenario where they ask you the questions or whatever. So it's like with Persona 4, there was the whole serial killer thing or whatever. So it's like there's a point in the game where you're like in the hospital, which is like the pivotal point, and it's like you're trying to determine who the killer is, and like if you make the wrong choice, which actually isn't that obvious, so it's like you'll probably end up doing it by accident and not even realizing it, where it's like it's not like the ending's like horrible in the sense, I mean it's still bad in the sense that it's like, well, you know, you didn't catch the killer and all this stuff, but it's like it's still like, but everyone went on to live their lives and everything was fine kind of situation. But then it's like then you get the regular good ending where it's like, oh, you solved the case, or did you? And then you can get like the golden ending, but it's like you can get that from there. So it's like you don't have to play through the entire game to do it kind of thing. So I think it kind of depends on the game, because some of them kind of have it so you don't have to like go through 60 bajillion hours of gaming in order to do it. But then I guess there's some where it's like maybe the developer's like, yeah, you definitely want weird stuff to happen. You definitely want this to happen. So it's like, play this game multiple times to see these endings. So, because even like, didn't like Silent Hill, that series, have like multiple endings?
Silent Hill 2 had a
or
bunch
one of
of
them
endings.
Yeah, so it's like, so sometimes I think they kind of just like, I'm assuming I haven't played any of because like survival horror is like definitely not something I've played despite loving horror movies, but it's like I'm assuming like,
they're stealth games basically.
Oh yeah, that's probably what it is. I'm like, it's like I can't play you. So because it's like I probably would actually enjoy the series if I could actually play them, but yeah. So I was like, I don't know how the endings work for those games, but I'm guessing similarly, or do you have to like play through all of them and do like the whole choice, like pivotal choice type scenarios where it's like, oh, you did this thing, and now you did this thing, and you also did this thing, so you're going to be like locked into this ending or something. Because I don't know, I haven't played them, so I don't know.
I don't know.
I think maybe the only game that might do that's Western is wow, I can't, Dishonored, because it has like because there's like the like meta level of like the chaos level in the world, and then you can also have like, and then like it also has like the karma system, I think, of like being like the choices that you make as you play through. So it's like as you affect the world and like have your affect like your choices that you're doing affect the world, have it be like more lawful or chaotic. You also have like the whatever side you're on, and then like you get multiple endings from that. But I've only had like the one time I played through it, and of course I was like lawful, so I don't know exactly how satisfying the other endings were. So yeah.
But
Well,
it doesn't get to the end, and it's like, oh, this was an ending, but not.
Oh,
You know,
no,
there's
it doesn't.
still like other things to know.
Well, you have that encounter with that one dude, the outsider, and he's like, I'd have to go back and look at it because
That's the one they made the other game about.
I'm about to say they made a DLC, right, for that one, or
It was a standalone.
oh,
but his like whole thing was like he could like see the different like multiverses or the futures or something.
Ah.
But it's been a while since I played that, so I'm not 100% sure now. But yeah, I don't think there are any Western games that do that.
I can't think of like even you know, it reminds me of the how story progression works in Blaze Blue, where it was like you play through every single possibility of every character to unlock this like critical path near the end that shows you the true ending of the game. And so you're just like playing basically the same game over and over and over again until you get the real ending. Like, yeah, I guess that's more accurate, I guess, is like Japanese games more often than not, or at least recently, the true ending, they have something labeled the true ending, is not the ending that you get when you finish the game one time.
or like some type of golden ending where it's like you need to do something to make sure that it's like the actual like good ending kind of situation.
Or even like a special epilogue, like in Tekken 7 when you fight Shinakuma afterwards. It's like, that's not the end, because you're
what?
Shinakuma.
I don't think I saw that one.
And he's really hard, so have fun.
Enjoy.
I mean, I guess kind of sort of similar maybe is like Arkham Knight has that thing where if you get all the Riddler stuff, or if you like 100% the game, there's like another ending.
You have to replay the game though.
Oh, you have to go through the game again?
No, you don't have to.
Or you don't.
He's saying you don't have to.
So it's like different, but it's like probably the closest that I can think of.
Wait, didn't Arkham City have something similar? Or not Arkham City, but Arkham Asylum?
Nope.
No.
Nah, there's 100%. Like you see other stuff when you complete other things,
okay.
but it's not like that. Like for me, I can't. I only kind of remember the end of Arkham Knight, but to me it did feel like, oh, if I do all the other stuff, there will be a different, possibly cool ending that I, as a Batman fan, will really appreciate. Except that there is so much stuff to do, so I haven't gone back to it.
Yeah, and it involves the Batmobile, and I was like, yeah, not fun. So
like F that noise.
Yourself, game.
F it in the B. So it's like, I don't know. Oh wait, but Gamer, he did do it, didn't he, or something? Or
Did he?
I think he did.
I know he did City, I think. I don't know if he did Arkham Knight.
Hmm.
I'm trying to think of other examples like that, because I know there's other games out there where it's like there's some like weird percentage thing where it's like, well, if you finish the game, you get this ending, but if you get all the extra things, but then now I'm like, wait a minute, man, I'm thinking of Japanese stuff, because that's probably the case.
Maybe they just really like multiple endings in Japan. There was actually an anime series I was watching that was basically an anime version of that. So I was like, well, this seems
Wait, what? Multiple endings?
like it was like it's weird because like it's
Groundhog
called
Day or something?
no, it's called like when oh crap, when is it something when something cries or something. Um, it's but it's like it's kind of like the whole anime series is basically it's kind of like there's like it's kind of hard to explain because it's a really weird series like because I was watching it half the time I was watching it was as background noise because of the way it works. You're basically watching the same anime over and over again, but it gives you like from different point of views, and then it has like a different ending for some of the scenarios it goes through because I think it's actually based on a video game, which is probably why it's like that. But it's like it's really odd, but it's like it's like kind of like yeah, it's kind of like a anime version of like a video game with multiple endings. It's so weird. So it's like, and then like at the end of it, there's like the one true ending because there's like the whole time loop and all this other stuff going on. So it's like it's weird, but maybe it is just like Japanese people just like stuff like that. Where it's just like this is a thing. It's like
They like you to play the main game over and over again.
I guess.
I mean, I guess. Well, so even like old, maybe not even Metal Gear Solid 1, but like all the Metal Gears, like there's that aspect where you play through the main game over and over again and you get different stuff depending on how you play it. And there's that's like the game built on top of the game. But the actual game part is the whole game. Like you do the game again, and then you get like the headband, or if you do a certain different way, you get this other thing. And then yeah, it's sort of they give you incentive to play the game over and over again. And do Western games do that?
I mean, not outside New Game Plus.
You
Not
mean
really.
Yeah, I just wanted to say I think it's only
Yeah, there's
okay,
not really.
stuff.
I can't really think of any where it's like, oh, we want you to play it over and over again. The single player, we want you to play it over and over. It doesn't seem like that was ever a strategy. It was always like, we're going to add multiplayer, and that will keep them playing over and over again.
I think the Western thing was more about like unlockables or collectibles, not unlockables, but maybe unlockables too. But yeah, collectibles and just finding all the stupid shiny small.
Yeah. So like instead of telling you to play the game over and over, like, oh, you got this, or you played through it like this time, so you get this thing. It's more like, here's 3,000 feathers. Go find them.
3,000 feathers. Gosh.
Yeah, if that were a thing, we would know because it'd be a new Ubisoft game, and it's not in any Ubisoft games, so therefore it's like
Assassin's Creed.
I was just like, nope, not really, except for Far Cry, where you can just like take a different thingy for the end on like 2 and 3 and 4, so whatever.
But it's like the anchor you said, where it's like
yeah,
it's
you
near
just-
the end
yeah,
and you
you're at
choose
the
it.
end, It's like, oh, you have a choice coming up. What are you gonna do?
Although I guess like Mass Effect, if you play like Tekken did, you did play the same game over. Except it wasn't the same game though, right? It was
It
like
was the same game.
kind of.
It
It was the same game, right?
It was the same.
It was definitely the same game.
Did they
You have
incentivize
you have very
to do that?
limited effect on how much your Paragon and Renegade powers affect anything. I was just obsessed. That's what that was.
Okay,
It's
there
true because
was
I was like a renegade for any time I played those games, and I don't remember anything different happening based on what you guys have said. So, because I punched people, I punched a lot of people, man.
I think I was just so fascinated at like just the different thing or like the differences in like when you would be good to someone
The
or
little-
just being
the
bad to
little
somebody.
things.
Yeah, it's like just the little details
Things.
I've noticed on like everything and like the dialogue and like if this character's there, if this or like yeah, like your two squad mates like would always have like different dialogue and it's like depending on like what you do, it's like different. So it's like that's like two different versions of two different characters. So it's like each character has like different dialogue at every part. So it's like I have to see all these things. It's just I love this game. It's amazing. It's just like I was just obsessed. It's just like I really have nothing to relate. Really add to that.
So there was no developer side incentive. It was just like personal obsession.
Yeah, for me it was just personal obsession on that part. But
Kinda like drugs.
All right,
I mean,
then.
I imagine they just did that because it was the type of games that they make to like pay all attention to like all the small details and stuff. So, which is why I was like, oh man, I've never played anything like this. This is amazing. And it was funny because I went back and played Knights of the Republic after that, and like all the aliens like speak an alien tongue, and like after a while I was like, I think I might understand what they're saying. But then I might not know what they're saying, but whenever they're saying, I'm like, that means that in Alien. But it was weird because it was like, yeah, it was weird. It was weird. I was like, man,
You're starting to become fluent in random alien languages. Wonderful.
That's funny.
it's like, this is a Twi'lek dialect. This is a not Twi'lek dialect.
Yeah. Well, that was the thing that was on my mind. There was another thing I was thinking of, but now I can't remember. This is because we did the whole horror thing before, which I did think was really interesting. What's the other thing?
Do you remember if it was game related?
It was definitely game related. I just can't remember exactly what it may have been kind of related to this. I don't know. Well, okay, so sort of to wrap this one and buy some time to think of the other one, which I don't know if I will. Would you want to see Western developers do it that way? Where like they give you incentives to play the main game over and over again? Or, is it too cruel to lock the true ending after a really long game?
I don't like multiple endings. I just want to point that out. So
Okay.
for me, I just want them to because when I play a game, I'm just like, listen, give me what's supposed to be happening at the end of this story. I know I got time for all these divergent timelines and nonsensical things. I mean, don't get me wrong. I enjoyed a couple of the series that I played that did that, but it's like, it's one of those things. Like, I don't want to have to work to get my ending after I put in so much work already, kind of thing. So it's like, just give it to me, man.
So no.
Just give it to me. So I would not want any Western developers to do that unless there's some kind of if they can do it creatively, and make it make sense for me to be doing it, then okay, I'd be okay with it. But it's it's one of those things where it's you're just playing the exact same thing with the exact same scenarios and everything just over and over again. Then it's just don't bother.
Because yeah, with Root Letter, it really does feel like each of the endings is pretty cheap, I think, to produce, because it's there's no animation or anything. It's just a screen with text at the bottom. So it really does feel like it's just sort of a cheap thing that they did. It's like, oh, play our game some more. Play our game some more. We're not going to put too much more effort into it, but if you want to see the real ending, whatever that might be, then you got to do it again.
Yeah, I like the way it is now. It's just fine. It doesn't need to be keep playing to get to the nougaty center of the Hershey pop or whatever. Cause wow, I had a whole reason in my brain and now I'm blanking. But basically just now when I play the game and it feels like an experience, it's it feels like it just cheapens it if it's guess what? That's not the end, or is it?
But wait, there's more.
Do it again.
It's what?
If The Walking Dead incentivized you to play it again. That was really cool about The Walking Dead, because there is zero incentive to play it again, really. It's just a lot of games you would expect a game that has multiple endings or multiple different paths you can take, that the trophies would be oh, you get one for doing this or you get one for doing this. And, you know, through one playthrough, you can't get all of them. But then, really, The Walking Dead was like, no, that is not important to this. And they just made it no matter what you do, like, as long as you get through it all, you get all the trophies. So there's, like, zero built-in incentive to play The Walking Dead multiple times, which I think is really cool. I'm assuming we all assume that, or we all think that we would not want The Walking Dead to incentivize playing through multiple times with different branching paths.
Yes.
Even if they incentivized, I probably wouldn't have anyway. Because like after I got my ending order, I'm like, all right, I am accepting this as my ending. I am not doing anything beyond this.
Yeah, it's like every game like that where it's like choice based or whatever. It's like this is the canon story that I had when I played through it for me.
Even though they end up taking their own canon stuff every time, regardless.
Yeah.
So it's like, well,
I think Detroit is the only one so far that I've been Western game where it's like, oh, I do want to see the other.
Yeah. For me, that was
ones.
For me, I think what like hooked me with that was like when they show you the graph at the end, though, and it's just like you see just like so many diverging paths of like, wow, like I need to see all of this, or I want to see all of this because that is some massive tree branching that I didn't even see like a glimpse of at all.
Play through all the other endings.
does
I don't know.
it?
Sort of, like, not in the game so much, but like as part of the game because it came out after trophies. Like the trophies they're ones that are like, oh, he gets away with everything, and you have to play through the game a certain way to make that happen.
Oh, well, you didn't get away with everything in mine, because LOL's on that. I knew it was him.
Yeah, I guess. Well, I'm still compelled to play through Rude Letter, I think. Also, maybe because the game is just sort of easy to play. You can't really lose anywhere.
It's like you'll eventually get through all of them.
Yeah.
All right, because I mean, I guess in that regard, that game is like fairly linear.
It's pretty chill, I guess, as far as mechanics wise. Story wise, maybe not so much, but mechanically, like, I'm just pushing X, using the D-pad. Don't have to worry about saying the wrong thing, except for a few places.
Do any puzzles or anything?
Just say whatever.
Because
you don't know where to go, you just push this selection, and then it'll tell you what to do.
Or tell her you like tennis, even though she asked you about food. Because, yeah, that's a thing. Yeah, I mean, I guess there are, like I said, like I guess it kind of varies for visual novel adventure type games, because I mean, some of them are mechanically a lot different from each other. So, but with that one, I guess it's easier because it's like you can kind of just skip everything and just do the one parts and do it. Because
that was really nice. Like, I did not expect that, so I sort of sat down, jokingly starting the second time, thinking, I'm probably not gonna do this, but then I was like, oh, I can just skip, and yeah, an hour later, it's like, I got a second ending. Well, I didn't think of the other thing. So, does anyone else have anything that has been on their gaming mind?
I have one, but it's not really that good of a topic. It's basically just like in the comments about the Star Wars game that got canceled, Amy Hennig said something about like single player games aren't sustainable in the current development process because they're too expensive. Blah 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 blah. But then I was thinking, well, if they did, I mean, on the one hand, if they ever stopped making single player games, it's like I wouldn't just go straight to playing multiplayer games. I'd probably just like play what's in my backlog first and just like exhaust that. And like maybe by the time I'm done with all of them, they might come back. But it's like if that happened, that'd be weird. Cause then it'd just be like free to play multiplayer stuff, and that would kind of suck. But it's but then like I'm like, well, would I stop playing games altogether? But then I don't know. I'd probably like not stop completely, just because I'm pretty sure there would still be stuff that like comes out that's like story based or just single player based. It just wouldn't be on the same scale or level as like what I would prefer it to be or like enjoy right now. So it's like I would still be able to like play stuff. It just probably wouldn't be what I wish it was or whatever. But better than jumping into the PvP dumpster fire. So that was more of a statement than a question, but whatever.
Well, it sort of makes sense. Like, it's crazy that Sony can do what they do with single player games. Like, the production value is, best in class, which is like the highest class.
Second question from that, because I was thinking about that, and like I tweeted something a long time ago about like Nintendo first party is like The Simpsons, and then like every other publisher developer out there that's like making games that's like single player is like they kind of try to like make stuff like more in the style of like a Sopranos HBO show, where it's like it's just like something that you sit down and play and like you feel these characters and like the story. Whereas I feel like Nintendo is more on the side of like fanciful, happy, whatever. None of this really matters. So it's like
that's not really The Simpsons. This is like a toy manufacturer.
I'm just saying, it's like I would equate the Mushroom Kingdom and like the Mario characters to The Simpsons, because they're always this like they don't age, they don't die. I mean, yeah, they die in The Simpsons, but that's only because of like contracting issues or whatever. It's not like whatever episode of like The Sopranos, like someone gets knocked off and it's like, oh no, or like Game of Thrones where it's like, oh, my favorite character died, no, and just like you have like this like emotional connection to them of just like, oh my gosh, like no, why? Or, like even Dragon Ball Z, dude, like I like the like reason you like to watch like when you're watching like a shonen that's like really good, and then like it goes like for so long, and then like when your character dies and you're like nah, and just like you feel it deep down inside you and just like, oh, you can like feel that stuff, like, and like I feel like I think that's just like another reason like my connection to Nintendo is like waning, is like I don't feel the connection to these characters because they have like no real significance.
They're not really characters.
Yeah, they're like mascots, like the Disney stuff, like the Disney analogy that we always make. They're just like timeless characters that will like Nintendo like will never do anything to like harm them, because it's like part of their brand that they have to like maintain to like make money for shareholders. So it's like, man, what's the point? So in that weakness, it's just like I feel like I gravitate away from them, even though I can still enjoy their games. I don't enjoy them to the level that I enjoy like the franchises that I enjoy that are like mature or just like more adult oriented, like The Last of Us and all the Telltale stuff, and just the Quantic Dream games and like all that stuff just doesn't compare. So not to say they're not good games, it's just like in my eyes they will just never be on an even playing field, and will always be like losing that battle. So it's like and like this gen, like Sony first party's been killing it, so it's like they've kind of like won me over, and it's kind of going to be hard for Nintendo to win me over back, because I mean they have a Mario and Zelda game out, but I'm kind of like, whatever, dude, like that's a fun gameplay game, but the story and characters and the narratives, it doesn't even come close, not even in the same solar system. Just saying.
Oh my.
I guess I'm interested to see, since I haven't played Breath of the Wild yet. Like, I wonder if they did anything.
I mean, Gamer says it's a good story,
era.
But I mean, Link will always be Link, Zelda will always be Zelda, Ganon will always be Ganon in my mind. So it's like I feel like a real connection to that universe.
But they're kind of not, right? Because
I mean, they're not
sort
the
of,
same,
like,
literally, but it's like they're going to be in every game. So it's like it's just going to be some romp through Hyrule with those characters every time, with like some thingy different here, thingy different there, whatever. So I guess a question that would like I could direct at that would be like, do you think Nintendo would ever make any type of adult or mature story-driven game, or like would they have a second-party studio do? Because I remember like Perfect Dark, when that came out, that was unrated, and like that was very back in the day. But then I don't see them doing that anytime soon with like the current games that they produce and release.
Well, I mean, it wouldn't have to be M-rated, right? Because like,
I mean, it doesn't have to be, no, but just
Uncharted games
just like on that level of like Sony first party where it's at now. Just like I don't like to me that is just like they are just like at a like level that everybody else wishes they were at, and then like Nintendo's not on that level, so it's like I don't see that them ever getting to that level. So I guess how would I phrase that question? Is like, do you think they could ever? Do they think that they will ever try to like get to that level or be on that plane of existence with them, or will they just like do what they're doing with like the gameplay mechanics and all their game of like where it's always like a fun gameplay hook that they have in their game and you just play it over and over again?
Is Metroid Prime that kind of game?
No. Samus never talks, dude. Silent protagonist. Can't have that type of game with a silent protagonist.
Okay.
I mean, I guess you probably could, but it's like, I wouldn't say it's on that level.
So maybe, like, yeah, I think out of their properties, maybe a Metroid game might be able to be something like that. Mario, I don't think they can ever do anything with Mario. Like, Mario has to be sort of the way that he is. So that entire cast of characters is always going to be like. And Kirby, I don't think they can ever change. And Pikmin, I don't think they can ever change. They could do something with like Fire Emblem, maybe.
Ooh.
Yeah. So Fire Emblem, I think they could maybe do that. Metroid, I think, is a good one that they could probably do something with that. I think they actually kind of tried to with Other M, but it was like not
successful.
Not. I don't know. They got this.
I kind of feel like this falls into like the category of like when fans are like, this isn't for me, and it's like Nintendo right now is like doesn't make games for me. And it's like that's why I like kind of like left them and not coming back. So. Not that they need it, they're just making so much money off the Switch, so I guess we'll see.
Well, I guess like I thought of Metroid Prime because that feels like a game that if you like Mario, you wouldn't necessarily like Metroid Prime. What does that mean exactly? I guess, so yeah, like, Nintendo games are basically for everyone, right? Like, Mario is for everyone.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like Metroid Prime was for everyone. It was for, like, certain types of people. And then, so, I guess the question is, like, is Uncharted for everyone?
No.
Is The Last of Us for everyone? Like, those games aren't for everyone. So... It's sort of like, would Nintendo make games
I see what you're saying.
that aren't for everyone?
That's a good point. It's like they do try to make games that are for everybody. Like the Ocean strategy, so that makes sense.
Yeah,
why
I think it would be really hard to make a game for Tekken, what Tekken wants. That would also be for everyone.
Well, I mean, if you're into drill instructors yelling at you in bodysuits, then, there's that.
So yeah, like out of their properties, I think would make easier transitions. Like Fire Emblem, I don't think is for everyone.
It's definitely not.
Yeah, Metroid, even not Metroid Prime, Metroid games, I don't think are for everyone. And what other? Like, I think it would be interesting. Like, Pokemon feels like they could make a really, Sony first party style, like single player Pokemon game. But then I don't think it would be for everyone in the way that Pokemon I think is supposed to be right now. So I don't think they would do it. But it feels like that is perhaps a franchise that they could do that with. Right? Does that?
I mean, there was that folklore game back. Are you talking about Sony making games like Nintendo, or
no? If Nintendo took Pokemon,
I don't know,
and made it
that just
to
seems like a very collectible game. I don't know why it would get some sort of weird, different story setting or character.
Well, because
they did stuff like Pokemon Snap and stuff before, which is definitely not for everybody, but.
Yeah, I feel like
that's like I mean, not for everybody, and then like on like a Sony first party in the current times, is like two different things, and it's like I don't see anything from like a Pokemon series that is like, oh man, this is such an amazing story with characters, and I can't wait to play this.
You can't see it?
No, I
'Cause,
can't.
yeah, I think the reason I kind of see it is because they've had, all the movies and the TV shows.
I was
and
just about to
stuff like
say,
that.
like, the movies and the anime exists, and it's like
Yeah, and it just
there's
feels like
oftentimes arcs that are like not pertaining to Ash and his very vague goal of being a Pokemon master. So it's
like that's the thing. Like I feel like they could. I don't think they would because it would take away.
it would be interesting though.
But yeah, I think it could be really interesting.
Actually, okay, I'll give you that one because I could see like some weird like if you only had one Pokemon and like you have grow very attached to them and like your
Yeah.
Pokemon dies or like it is like the end of times or something for Pokemon and like they're going extinct and like you have to like figure out a cure from like a Pokemon plague or something and like
Oh my.
Pokemon gets infected or something and you're like, oh no, I have to get one more Pokemon and go across the lands to find the cure to come back to cure my other Pokemon because I only had one Pokemon or something. But
Well, even though it was the last one, I think we can sort of call this genre like Dad of War, whereas like a lot of games became about being fathers or father figures, like Telltale's The Walking Dead and stuff like that. So I think they could make that kind of game.
I was gonna say
with
like the only other
Pokemon.
thing I could see them doing is like a new IP where it's like it's like it is meant to like but that's the thing that's like weird to me is like if you look at demographics like over half of the people that play games are like 30 and over and it's like to me like 30 and over older people like unless they're playing games with their kids like wouldn't want to play the type of games Nintendo makes so it's like to me it's like they're just like missing out on all that on all those people and they're just like they're siphoning them or that's probably not the right word to like PlayStation where it's like oh we have games for you because like we have all these cool games that are like very cinematic and story driven and character based. Like you're
Yeah.
Nintendo and Mascot City, sorry. We could do it, but we don't. Whatever. We'll just take your kids' money, and they'll give us money until they're like 13, and then they'll go to PlayStation because they'll be tired of it. Like we talked about with the anime thing. It's like they've done all these things. They want to kill some stuff now, and we can't. We don't give you that. I mean, not all of them will, but a lot of them will because America. This is America. Have you ever been here? Have you ever visited? Okay, man, it's just like that's a weird analogy because I was like I started globally and I made it local. I'm sorry. Every other territory that's not America because other people around the world are not as terrible as people in America. Oops, I said that. Whatever, it's true. We all know it is. Have you not been here? Hashtag this is America.
This is Mary. Well, so, like, do you think Nintendo would ever do that, or do you think they feel like, well, obviously there will always be children, so there's no...
There'll always be
It's not like our business will die because there are no more children. Like, there will always be more children.
I don't know. I've seen movies where people have become sterile, and that's actually not a thing. Because we've warned ourselves. We've warned ourselves.
I think they're not gonna do it because they don't need to. Like you said, it's like they can just keep making stuff.
Like,
for
there
that.
will always be children,
Yeah,
right?
that demographic will always be there, and then like it's not like it's gonna shrink anytime soon. Like we're not on like a sterile collapse of like humans going sterile and not being able to reproduce.
We
Like our
could
producer.
be.
So until that happens, they have like they're like we have like endless supply of like people because they keep being born. We don't need to worry about it. And like PlayStation and Xbox aren't making kid-friendly games like we are. At least not as good. Do they have anything that rivals any of our cutesy-friendly mascot games? No. It's like the reverse. It's the reverse argument of what I just made. It's like they don't have anything that's like as close to like Mario and Smash Brothers and all those fanciful fun times in Nintendo Land. Of course they don't. I mean, they could, but it's like that's not what they're trying to do. So it's like it's not going to happen. It's like It's the complete diametric opposite of like what I was just saying for the last 5 minutes. Of like PlayStation, they need to make more Ratchet and Clank games or like fanciful, fun games like Mario. It's like no, I don't want that. So it's like I'm fine with that. Like I'm fine with that status quo that Sony has. It's just like I'm just like saying Nintendo, man. If you want me back, dude. If you want all of us Nintendo children that have grown up and like not bought a Switch yet, and like kind of like whatever, dude, because you don't got what we need or what we want. You know, that's the strategy. But they're like, whatever, dude. We got Nintendo Labs. Have you seen that? Have you seen Nintendo Labo and how nutso it is? Because it's not for you, Taken. So f off. We don't want your money. It's like okay, fine, be that way, and that's why we're broken up right now, and we're not talking. So.
Have you guys
It's pretty
tried going
crazy
on
though.
a bonding date recently? Try to rekindle that.
Well,
that
they
spark?
showed that Metroid Prime 4 trailer, and I was like, oh, this is where the magic's going to happen. And then this year at E3, it's like, nothing. Crickets. And then it's like, oh, it's going to be like that? And it's like, yeah, go for yourselves.
Oh my.
It's like, I was super hyped. And I was like, hyped for a year. And then it's like, alright, some new Metroid test Smash Brothers for 30 minutes. It's like, ooh, that was... nope. Cancel date. That's what that was.
Ooh.
I guess one reason why Nintendo might do it though is because like depending on the size of the audience, like what you were saying, they're sort of leaving that money on the table, or they're like allowing Sony basically and all the other companies to take it. I mean, there is a chance that the next generation will be smaller than the current generation. Not like consoles, like humans.
Kind of got that.
There's like, there are fewer kids than there are adults, and they may look at that and be like, "Uh-oh, we can't make as much money as we want to just focusing on children. Like, how do we get the adults also?" So I could see a situation like that where they look at that and they think, "Okay, we need to make a game that will bring back Tekken and all of his contemporaries."
This is like interesting to me because like now it's like now in my brain I'm like thinking like, will Microsoft just like copy Sony first party, or will they like try to half and half it of like have like stuff that's like up or I guess attempt to make stuff that's like on the level of Sony first party, because I don't see it happening, and then like also attempt to like make stuff that's like kid friendly, like the what was that Cameo Elements of Power game? Was that the name?
Yep.
I think that's
Yeah,
what
stuff
it
like
is.
that. They're like the targeting the children demographic that they kind of tried 360 and just never got it. So I guess we'll see. I don't think Nintendo really cares about that. I think they're just like, whatever, dude. We got kid stuff, and we're making tons of money off of it. And then whatever dries up, we can just put it on mobile, because people don't have like no idea what they're doing. They're just like, oh, I'll pay $1 for it, sure, or it's free. Oh man, oh, it's $1 for a costume. Oh, and then like instantly $1 million because like, oh, all these people bought costumes because have you whatever. I'm not even gonna get into that. I'm not even gonna get into the whole mobile filth situation. That's and like free to play and microtransactions. That's just
The costumes are fun.
it's like in my brain like it's like in my brain, and like my nightmare scenario is like free to play wins, and like I just like feel like every day like that is a battle that like is like we are losing, and like going towards like that super darkest timeline of like just free to play being like the status quo, and just like then I would be done, because it's like every game is just so hollow and vapid and just terrible, and just like, oh, why?
Oh my.
Time waster games.
Man, it's like, oh, and like some are free for like that are like really good, and it's like, oh, you can just play how long. Some are like 10 clicks in, it's like, would you like to buy something?
It's like, no.
You're out
I
of
would like to
energy.
uninstall you.
Would you like to spend money? We out here chasing money. We out here chasing money. We need your tribute or patronage, whatever. And man, I really hope free to
Your
play.
tribute.
It's
It's like, well, here's my daily sacrifice, I guess. Found some hobo on the street. Guess you can have his blood. Nobody will miss him. So yeah.
So I guess that answers my first question about like when would I ever exit the gaming hobbydomness or whatever. I mean, if like all that was coming out was like that was new stuff, was like free to play and like microtransactions of the wazoo, I'd be done, because I don't think there's any free to play single player games, and if there are, then there aren't any that are great. Because I played SimCity Social and I played that Dragon Age whatever, and not good stuff. So no, pass. If that's the future, no thanks.
Interesting. I
Sorry,
actually
but what
don't
are
know.
your thoughts on the Nintendo possibly making a Sony tier first party title? I mean, not Sony tier, but like Sony quality. That's not like super fanciful Mushroom Kingdom land happy times. I mean, it doesn't have to like be hammers to the face, Last of Us style. It could be something, maybe a bit
Hammers to the face.
less brutal. Just saying. It could be, just Tekken's got, things that he wants to do to things, and it's like, I mean, that's only like one part of the pie too. Tekken's pie, funness isn't always about like, violence and visceral things you're doing to people and all that stuff. It's like, maybe I should want to like, hang out and talk, like I did with Liara, and then stuff happened, and it was a fun time. I mean, it doesn't have to be that either. I'm just saying,
That's what it sounds like it has to
Could
be.
just be the talking. Could just be the talking. I did a lot of talking in the Walking Dead games. A lot of people died too. Doesn't have to be death. Just saying, it could be all these things where it's like, I grow attached to you, you grow attached to me, we have adventures, someone dies. Maybe not always, but, just saying, it's on the table.
I mean, you keep saying that, but then...
I'm just saying, my favorite stories, my favorite games involve death. I'm just saying, that could be just coincidence. Maybe it doesn't have to be the way. I don't know. But I'm just saying.
Normal,
I'm just
I
saying.
guess. Yeah, it's normal. I don't know. I don't think they really need to, because I mean, the problem is a lot of their. I mean, from my understanding, a lot of these games came about because of like gardening and bug collecting and stuff. So it's like, I mean, unless the director picks up a hobby on serial killing, I don't think we're gonna have anything where it's gonna be here's this new crazy title I thought up from this hobby I have, and yeah.
I also like the irony whenever you said like how these things came about. It's like, I guess when the Nintendo Entertainment System did come out, it was like marketed as a toy for children. So it's like to come full circle, where it's like those children have gone up, and it's like, I mean, I still want to play that Mario, man, Super Mario Odyssey, but it's like, have you seen Ghost of Tsushima? Have you seen Last of Us Part 2? I guess I just moved on. I have literally grown as a person, and it's, I guess, yeah, it's a beautiful thing. I can look forward to doing things to people with swords and hammers. It's great. It's a fun time.
Oh my.
I mean, at the same time, I would like to go collect coins in the Mushroom Kingdom. Nothing wrong with that. But one of the things is not like the other, and one of them I kind of like more than the other. So, I mean, maybe that says things about me. Whatever, I've got issues. I mean, I might try meditating a bit more. Whatever, no big deal. But that's where I'm at in life. So yeah. Also, Spider-Man. I mean, no death in that. I mean, Uncle Ben. Whatever. Whatever you want to say about that. But besides that, crime fighting, web slinging, nice, wholesome, fun time fighting crime. Just saying. Not M-rated. Totally don't just like go letting loose with your spider string and punching through people's chests. I'm just saying. Totally fine.
I don't know if I believe you.
And then we don't even know what Death Stranding is, so it's like not really up for discussion, but super weird. So yeah.
It's about rain that ages you and ghost babies.
Ghost babies. It's like only Kojima's craziness could be eclipsed the zany, whimsical fancifulness of Nintendo, and he's on PlayStation Steam, so it's great. It's a great match. I can just go to the Kojima production games that they pump out every like one every 10 years. I'm sure that's like when we'll get Death Stranding, and hopefully they're fun, and I'm sure they'll have like I mean, you had like a toenail ripping that was like pretty good stuff. So that people with like weird umbrellas that aren't umbrellas, are they umbrellas? Who knows? Just saying. So
They protect you from the aging rain.
looking forward to that. Not on PlayStation. I mean, not on Nintendo. Not on Switch. You're not gonna get that Switch criers of like, is it on Switch yet? Is it on Switch yet? It's like, no, it's not coming to Switch. So shut up. I don't suppose you remembered your topic, Tropical?
I did not.
Oh well, I only
That's
have
cool. We got
two.
2 topics in, and a aimless sidetrack
Oh wait,
into horror
you
movies.
two never answered the whole like weird thing I talked about before I went to Aimless Island on the whole Nintendo thing of like, what would make you leave the hobby, or is there anything that would make you leave the hobby? Disaster scenario, darkest timeline.
I guess they stopped making video games.
But what if they're all free to play RPG and they're terrible?
I mean, I'll just have to adapt.
Ew, free to play. Ew.
I would be okay with that if they could figure out, like, if it's today's free to play and they just continue that, then I think I would still play, but significantly less. If they can figure out like a new, better free-to-play model, which like there is kind of stuff like that. Like Fortnite feels generous enough. We're going to hound you with this. Random pop-up ads, random video pop-up ads. Every single time you open a chest, we'll ask you, do you want to watch an ad so you can get more from this chest? Do you want another chest by doing this thing? Do you want to take this offer and give you this thing? It's like, it's too much. But then, like, there's other games, free-to-play games, that feel, like, more generous. And they really are like, oh, you can play a bunch today. But if that's still not enough for you, you can do this stuff and then get some more things, or you can give us a little money and give us more things, or get more things for yourself. And I think that's a step in the right direction. And if they can do even better than that, something, I don't know what it is. Maybe they could get me sort of playing at what I play at now, even in an entirely free to play future. What would stop me from playing games?
Getting arrested.
Maybe. And so we're talking about like apocalyptic, quote unquote, apocalyptic events in game.
Yes, not like
in gaming, right?
Not like climate change, polarized caps melting.
No more electricity.
Yeah, not talking about the whole like collapse of modern society that we might be heading towards darkest timeline. Oh.
Yay! Apocalypse.
I guess, yeah, if single-player games like AAA single-player games entirely went away, I would probably play a lot less as well. I mean, I like the indie single-player stuff. It's pretty decent most of the time, but then I think I would just be sad. I like when... I don't like getting new hardware, but I like when like technology makes a leap and you get to see, wow, now technology can do this stuff. And really indie games, unless they're really good, tech-wise, like they can't really show you those kinds of leaps. And plus there's so many more of them. So it's I can't even focus right now with this number of games. If there were no giant AAA like tent poles, I would basically have decision paralysis all the time. And like I don't know where to look. And then I would probably play. I don't think there's anything that would push me out of games entirely because I'm pretty open to whatever they want to try to sell me. But yeah, it might be harder if no one has like the big marketing budgets or the big graphics budgets and stuff of the AAA. So if AAA single player games went away, I would probably play less.
Oh, I just realized something kind of cool. Maybe the opposite would happen, where it's like I would be like Luke Skywalker and go into hiding, and then I would be like, time to focus on PvP, and then I would be like totally like in the competitive scene, just like rise through the ranks and be like Revan, Revan style, like the legendary Jedi that everybody knows. Yes, Tekken, and I would like start recruiting like a Jedi Order, and then okay, that's a whole weird thing, but that's probably what would happen because I'd be like, money, if I get really good at this, and then I'm just like, you know what, I have nothing to lose, and then just like go into hiding like Luke, and then just like be like, yeah, that's what happened. Yeah, it's like Tekken wouldn't stop. We all know Tekken wouldn't stop. Tekken says he wouldn't stop, but then he realized he would not stop because he knows himself. That was weird, but yeah.
The emergence of Tekken Master Prime.
And then the robot dinosaurs show up. And I'm like, it's okay. I've played Horizon.
He's trained for this, guys. It's fine.
Just give me a bow and arrow. That's all I need.
In the future, apocalypse where, giant robot dinosaurs roam the earth, humans will be divided into those who have played Horizon and those who have not.
And those who are food.
And those who are food.
Any topics of discussion to bring up, RPG?
I do not.
Do we have any news stories?
Hold up. Hello?
Hello?
Hi. How you doing?
Tropical?
Sorry. There was apparently an explosion near my house.
Oh,
Well.
exciting.
So the
apocalypse begins.
School is canceled tomorrow because that's the schools are the emergency shelters or whatever.
Fun.
So that's pretty exciting.
Did they say what happened? Is it the emergence of the robot dinosaurs? Is it earlier than expected?
I hope not. Well, it's pretty crazy. So I guess it was a gas leak, and then the pictures show these buildings that I drive by pretty regularly are just gone. They were leveled.
Oh.
So it was pretty big explosion. I did not hear it.
You're too desensitized to it.
Yeah, I thought it was my subwoofer. I was playing Diablo.
It's man, that was a really strong barbarian attack. But then you realize it was actually an explosion.
Darkest Timeline strikes again.
Yay! We're doomed. In the darkest timeline.
Okay, so yeah, do I have any news? Not really. Because the darkest timeline, I'm very distracted from game news most of the time. There'll be things that interest me, and then I'll forget.
You see that the world is on fire. So
I'm just
this is still a thing.
I don't know. I don't care. So there was that week we were talking about all the lawsuits, right? Did I tell you that PUBG Core dropped their lawsuit against Epic Games for Fortnite?
I don't think so.
They did that.
I think that was the week that they sued them. Or that we talked about.
Okay, yeah. After that, at some point, I don't know when exactly, but they dropped their lawsuit. And, we don't really know why. I imagine it's because it's too late, Fortnite, what could they possibly hope to get out of it, even if they could win? And also, it's not just Fortnite. If you take out Fortnite, there are other ones. PUBG, their big advantage was that they were the first one. But then, to me, it feels like they moved too slowly. And so, early access all that time, and they came out, official release, and yet it still is not a polished, really functional game. And everyone else is by the end of this year, Call of Duty will have one of those. So even if you take out Fortnite, are you sure you're going to be able to take on Call of Duty with all the myriad problems that you have now? Being first was no longer, being first is no longer enough for them. So, yeah. I don't know what they're going to do. You can't sell your game just on, we were the original.
It's yeah, and?
Because it's got to be, good, and people are just there's too many cheaters, and the game still isn't stable, and just so many things. There was another lawsuit that I actually forgot to talk about, which makes me really sad. It's between Stardock and the two guys who originally made Star Control. Apparently, they've been fighting. It was weird. Like when Stardock acquired Star Control, like the Star Control rights are weird. So Star Control belonged to, I believe it was Acclaim, and eventually, through numerous different transfers of ownership, became a Stardock property. But just the name, all the aliens, all the story, everything that still belongs to the two guys who are now running Toys for Bob. Like they still own all of that stuff. So when Stardock bought Star Control, it meant that they could make new Star Control games, but they couldn't use any of the old like backstory or any of the alien races or anything like that.
That is weird. It's
really
basically
weird.
It was like an instant reboot because we can't use any of the old stuff, just the name. That is weird.
We just have the name. And the original Star Control 2 like was released by the original creators, like open source. So you can actually, before it got on Good Old Games, like you could download original Star Control 2, just not under the Star Control 2 name. It was called something Urquan Masters, which is like the name of one of the alien races. And everyone who knew what was going on knew what it was, and they got it. But then when Stardock got it, they started selling the old games and then started talking about, oh, we're going to make a new one. And so they came up with this idea of the Star Control multiverse, where it's like the original games, which we all love, those are their own multiverse.
This is how it begins.
And then the third game, which was not made by those guys, and people didn't like so much, that's in its own universe. And then our new one, which is called Star Control Origins, will be in its own universe. That's like kind of similar, but doesn't have any of the original races. And it's just like,
why do you need a multiverse if you're not using the other two?
Yeah,
that doesn't make any sense.
So apparently, at the time when they announced this, they were like, "Oh, we talked to the original creators, and we were like, it's cool. Like, we're gonna do our own thing, so that way you guys can still continue the story of Star Control 2 if you ever so want to in the future." And in fact, after Star Control Origins was announced, those guys did announce that they were working on a sequel to Star Control 2. No idea what it's going to be called, because as we've just been talking about, Star Control, the name is like they don't own it. But it seemed like they were going to work together on this stuff. It's like, oh, it's going to be cool. There's going to be all these new Star Control games, and then somehow they got into a legal fight about like who is allowed to sell the old Star Control games and who gets the money. And I guess like Stardock has way more money. So this news was not just the lawsuit. It was that the original creators of Star Control they started a GoFundMe to get $2 million to fight their court battles about this.
Oh, dear.
How did it get to this? It seemed like you guys were all working together, but then I guess that was not the case, and now we're in this crazy situation where there's apparently 2 Star Control games being made, but the people who own Star Control are being sued by the people who created Star Control. It is a weird situation. So that was news, although not recent. Though kind of recent.
Timeline.
Wasn't the last week. There was this other thing I saw about Guild Wars 2.
Oh, I saw that. That was
Did
crazy.
you see this?
That was crazy.
I guess like some lady on the development team was or I think she was a writer. She was talking about like I think narrative for like player characters or something like that. And then some YouTuber was like a guy, obviously, gave feedback on it. He was like, "Oh no, well, I read the tweets, but I actually don't recall exactly how it was worded. But I guess one way to see it was that he was basically telling him, an amateur, was basically telling a professional, "You have done it wrong. This is the way you should do it." And she was not having it because that's what she always gets on Twitter, because it's Twitter. And then, yeah, so out of the blue, she got fired. Excuse me. And then, I guess on Reddit, people saw this, and Reddit being Reddit, they were just like, "Oh, look, we have all the power. We can look at developers and be like, we don't like that developer. We're gonna get them fired, and we can do it because we have the power." And that was just like a very crazy situation there.
It's like, I don't use Reddit, but after I saw that, I was like, not on team good people, or
No.
good, not villains.
Like, there's fun stuff happening on Reddit, but there's also like terrible stuff happening on Reddit. Like I was telling RPG about the thing where
Real life.
the Thanos subreddit, the Thanos did nothing wrong subreddit. Like, oh wait, I can't tell this story because maybe listeners haven't seen the movie,
Oh, right.
so never
the
mind.
Spoilers. Oh, yeah. No!
Well, the name of it itself, if you know anything, is just wow. The fact that that's the name.
Yeah.
They did a fun thing, or I saw it, and not being a part of it, I thought it was fun, and I was like, that's kind of cool. But I can't tell you what it is.
I
I'm
think
sorry.
I might have
Well,
heard
you can tell them
talking
after,
about it.
after we stop recording.
Sorry, more explosion stuff. What else? There were some release dates.
Release date for Monster Hunter World on PC. I think it was like August
Yeah.
something.
Next month or something?
I'm-
Yep, it is July, so next month. Yeah. So I guess the most of the news stories about that were the actual release date, which I can't remember, but it's sometime next month. But it was also talking about the system requirements. But the thing that I saw was some investment group or analyst or whatever like downgraded Capcom because of Monster Hunter World, because it was doing super well, but they feel like it was just a fad, and so like 6 months in, there's going to be a massive drop in the number of copies of Monster Hunter World that they're going to sell from here on out. Which, I don't know, that seems likely to me?
I don't think so, because they do a good job of.
You don't think
updating
so?
it, and like they have new stuff to come back to all the time.
But that's like mostly for people who already have it, right?
But yeah,
Do you think
not
that like
every on-
drives
But there's
new
only two
people to buy it?
platforms that have the game, and then okay, here's my thing. It's like I don't know how many air quote PC elitists there are out there, but if they don't have a console, then they can clearly finally play it now. And since it hasn't been on well, I don't think it's been on PC in the West, but like, if you've been watching people play and you're like, oh man, I want to play some of that Monster Hunter, give me some of that, then you're gonna be jumping in to play it, and you're gonna like it because it's a good game. So it's like I could see it having a good success and not a success. So I don't know. That's just weird to me.
Man. Yeah, I have no idea. It feels like when you're launching on a new platform, it feels like people will buy it. So shouldn't sales go up when the new version comes out? But then, does that affect? Like, I feel like there are people on PS4 and Xbox who are going to buy the PC version as well.
Oh, that too, yeah.
Just because, graphics.
Yeah, better performance and graphics. I was thinking about that too. I was like, it has basically everything in the console version, but better. So and then you can use all the experience that you have from like playing it on console to get to where you're at in the game faster. So sure, you have to grind all over again, but hey, it could be worse.
Yeah.
Could
So.
it? Could it?
Yeah, you could not be getting a version of the game until next year and be like, oh, we delayed the PC version because ha ha ha, let's lie about optimizing it, but we really don't care about you PC users. Suckers. We have Resident Evil 2 remake coming out, we're gonna sell millions. You think we really care?
There was a few release dates announced, I think.
Shenmue 3 got, or did it already have a release date?
I know Shenmue 1 and 2
Oh, yeah,
got
that one
announced for
Shenmue 3,
August.
I'm sorry, yeah, not that one. Not Shenmue 3,
Yeah.
that one too. So I was like,
We have no
oh,
idea
yeah.
when that one's coming out. Chasm is a game that they've been showing a lot. Or it's not been shown a lot, but it's been out there for a while, like 6 years, I think. It's really old, and it's sort of a pixel. I think it's like or I guess it's an RPG adventure. I thought it was a Metroidvania. But yeah, it's coming to PS4 and Vita July 31st, finally. I think there's been, if you've ever played any of the PlayStation demo kiosks out there in retail, Chasm has been on there numerous times. And now finally the real game will be out. Spike Chunsoft, making a comeback, announced 4 more titles at Anime Expo.
They did.
Something called AI, the Somnium Files? Maybe?
Who even knows? Who even knows
yeah.
with them sometimes?
A game called
But I'm excited.
You Know? You
That
Know?
That one's probably above love.
Maybe. Steins Gate Elite. And
that one is not above love. That one's just weird.
I think they already announced this one before, but 428 Shibuya Scramble
They
is
did
going to
announce
come
it
out.
before.
I think it was.
Here it is. Here it is. But I think that was the live action one, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the live action one.
Visual novels are weird.
I guess AI, the Somnium Files. Second Crack. I don't know if it was better. That is the guy who made the Zero something game.
Zero Escape
X
series,
game.
yeah.
Yes, that one.
Yeah.
So
yes.
that might be interesting.
Yes. Well, they had teased it like years ago because he announced that he was working on something called Project Sync or whatever, but then said nothing about it for like 2 years. And he's like, "This is what it is," and then even the teaser trailer just like, it's like, this tells me nothing. This tells me nothing. Thanks, I guess. So, yeah, but they're a weird company. They're a weird company.
Yeah, I don't know if I got. Oh, there's a giant PlayStation Store sale going on. The mid-year sale, I guess it's called. And there's a lot of games, 50 to 60% off.
Are they good though?
I saw some pretty, games that I'm interested in.
But you're interested in everything. That doesn't
I'm not
count.
going to buy all of them.
You're thinking about it. You're thinking about it.
Dang, I was.
Yeah, because I think a lot of gaming stuff are doing sales right now because their Game Days is going on in GameStop right now,
Yeah.
And then you have the PlayStation Store sales and stuff. So I think, but maybe it's because it's the summer, so they're just like, oh, we need to clear out some stuff, some shelf space. Well, I mean, it doesn't work for digital games, but it's like we need to have all of the sales, have all of
The
them.
Steam summer sale recently ended.
So now's the time.
But yeah, what's some of the stuff on sale? Oh, again, if you don't have Rise of the Necromancer, Diablo 3, that's on sale. For how much, I have no idea,
I was gonna say
because
how much.
I own it. I own it already.
Me too.
I didn't buy something during the Steam sale. I pre-ordered the last season of Walking Dead, but I think I also picked up that one game that Ninja Theory made. That with the Goku thing.
Enslaved?
Yeah, Enslaved.
Mm.
I think I either got that or downloaded it finally. It's one of the two. But I was like, it was only like it was like less than $20 to get Walking Dead. So I was like, I guess I'll get something that's on my wish list. And I saw it, and I was like, oh, I still have this on Steam. So it's probably better than the console versions that I have, but I haven't played. So why not, right? One last triple dip. So yeah, did that. Or
Oh, Reaper of
Tisk,
Souls. Oh, Necromancer is still $9. $10. $9.74
I think I only have like
for the
$5 in my
Necromancer.
wallet, so I'll probably pick it up when I can
Oh no!
add that PSN code from Amazon if they have it, or I'll just wait till I get paid and add like 60 and be like, whatever, I'll just spend the rest on something else. Or who knows, whatever.
I was looking at, so Red Faction is really cheap at below $3, I think. Anyways, yeah, looking at it, I guess the stuff that I'm interested in is probably not interesting to the general everybody. But there's a lot of stuff in the sale, so there probably is stuff you're interested in. And in fact, those things are probably the ones that I already own, which is why I'm looking through this as like, well, yeah.
I already have all of this. I have all of these.
Yep, I have a lot of them.
Tisk, tisk, tisk.
I'm gonna finish some more games this week, I hope.
Probably might be a good idea.
I did 2 this week, but both of them were like, oh, you need to play through again. Dragon's Crown outright said, oh, you need to play through 2 more times.
It's like, we're not even gonna lie to you right now. We're not even gonna lie to you. You gotta do this twice, man. You gotta do this twice.
Anyway, I think it's a good sale, so you should go check it out. And then also Darksiders 3, I guess, is coming out in November. And the special editions have like statues of the different characters. Fury. The most expensive one, I think, is like $350, $400.
Oh my.
And it has 3 statues of Fury, War, and Death. And
Are they like
Ulgrim, I think
or are
his
they
name
just-
was?
or
No,
are they
it's just statues. Display
Yeah.
statues.
Then I can't play with them as action figures. They're useless to me.
So, yeah. Fortnite Season 4 ends tomorrow. There was like a rocket launch. Oh, did I talk about the rocket launch?
Do not talk about the rocket launch.
There was a rocket launch. So,
Is it Team Rocket?
it was
Are they Rocket Trouble?
And I don't even know the story. Like, apparently there's some story in Battle Royale mode, which is sort of cool because there's no cutscenes or anything like that. It's just like small alterations to the world that when you have hundreds of people, 100 people per game, and just countless number of games being played every day, people find things out and then they tell other people. And like before Season 4 started, there was like a comet in the sky, and everyone thought, oh, it's going to destroy a certain part of the map, and there's going to be something that happens. And it did destroy a certain part of the map, but it wasn't the part that everyone thought it was going to be. And then it sort of, they introduced these like superhero skins. And sort of, it was like a superhero theme season.
There's the origin story.
And there was like the Thanos event, which was really fun, where you could play as Thanos. But then, yeah, so that was kind of like the effects of the opening of season 4 were there for everyone to see. The end of season 4, starting season 5, they did a one-time only event. So I think it was last Saturday at 12:30. You had to be logged on and in a game, and if you're in a game, then you got to see a rocket fire off from a location on the map and fly around and like crash through what appeared to be like dimensional barriers or whatever, and it left like these cracks in reality. And it was really cool because it was like a one-time event. I logged on. I tried to log on at 12:20, but I met a queue. Usually you can log on instantly, but I guess so many people were trying to go see this event that I had to wait 5 minutes to get in, and then I had to wait a little bit to get into the game. So I got into a game a little bit after 12:30, and so I was in the bus as the rocket was flying around the map, and then I saw it hit the sky and leave this giant fissure in the sky, and I was like, this is kind of cool that this is like one thing, and it's happening on every single map right now, regardless of or every single version of this, or what would you call them? Shards, I guess? Every server is seeing the same thing synced at the same time. But, our game was just starting, so we were all still on the bus. And other games were, like, on the ground already, and they were just, like, looking up at it. And apparently there was one game where, people didn't coordinate or anything. There was just sort of this unspoken agreement that we're all here to watch the rocket. So no one was killing each other. And I guess they had built this giant ramp up into the sky and a platform at the top. And there was like 40-some people up there watching this thing happen. And like a guy at the bottom or something took advantage of the situation and destroyed the ramp. And everyone fell out of the sky and died. And so now that person, who has like really low stats in general, has this like solo kill record in the game at 48.
This sounds like something I would have done.
Yeah, there's sort of a debate going on. It's like, is this guy a hero or a villain? Because it's like, it's hard to be mad because it's really cool, and there wasn't really anything in the game saying don't kill anyone, don't ruin the experience. In fact, like, it's not ruined. Like, if you die, then you automatically switch to spectator cam of the person who killed you, and so you can still watch everything.
But all 50 of these people were just watching this one guy as he dances, and he's like, haha, hype dance, hype dance.
It's really funny. It's like,
I think they deserve it. It's like you don't really.
It was really cool.
In a PvP mode. It's like that's
I just about to say, I was like, you're kind of asking for it. Yeah. Like you were kind of asking for it.
That happened in my game too. So I watched the rocket impact from the bus, and then I jumped out of the bus and landed on a hill just to look up at the fissure, and then like, at some point, some guy came up behind me. And I was like, oh shoot, should I kill him? But we're both standing there and we don't have weapons, like we just have the pitchfork or pickaxe. And we're just like looking at each other like, you know what? I don't think we're gonna kill each other. I think we're here for the same reason. And I just like turned my back to him, and he didn't kill me and I didn't kill him. I was like, oh great. And for some reason, like, the launch was over already. It was just the fissure in the sky, but people were still coming up to this hill that I had landed on, building ramps up to the hill, and not killing each other. It was like everyone was just like holding the pickaxe, and like no one has scavenged a weapon. Everyone is just here basically unarmed, and we're all looking up at the thing.
And then
And
the
then
grenade came.
And then, yeah, a guy came up and started throwing poison grenades and, like, shooting
Of
everyone.
course. Because that's what I would have done. Like, well, it's been fun, guys, but it's like shooting fish in a barrel at this point, and
Show's over, guys. Oh, what? You didn't get a weapon? Oh, well. I guess too bad for you.
more accurately, throwing a grenade in a barrel just to make sure everything dies.
It's really funny.
Destroyed the platform. Good.
Yeah, like, Fortnite, Epic with Fortnite is going all out. So this, in the game, the fissures since that day have been growing bigger and growing, like, sub-fissures or, like, branching off new fissures. And then there's, like, strange items appearing on the map. Or not items, just, like, props, I guess? You can't interact with them. Like, some people found sort of old West style carriage up on a hill out of nowhere, and then there's like a big anchor that's just like in a valley somewhere. And so you think, okay, so they're changing the map again. Like, that's not too big. The really crazy stuff they're doing is that they're disappearing stuff from the map and making them physical and putting them out in the real world. So people have found like this giant sort of hamburger ornament from this fast food restaurant in the game in the desert in real life. And people have been finding like the llama supply drop llamas like in real life. Gigantic, like life size from the game. And I look at that and I think, yep, they definitely sacrificed Paragon to the gods to get this kind of success. Like, this is insane. What was the prize money they put up? Was it 10 million?
I don't remember, dude.
It was a lot. And it was like, you know that Fortnite is free, right? Somehow they're making like boatloads of money that they can afford to do these crazy, like, augmented reality on a digital, like, computer or whatever, like I Love Bees. Like, that's kind of cheap. But if you're doing stuff in the real world and like making things and putting them out there, like, just can't imagine how much revenue they're doing with Fortnite. It's insane. I don't know. Anything else? NES Classic minis were back.
I forgot to try to get one the first day,
Did you see them?
so I'm kind of sad with myself, but whatever.
I don't think they're gone right now. Like, so that morning I was like, oh, right, NES Mini. So I tried to get one. But online it was super hard. And then I said to my daughter, we're going to go out and try to get this thing. And she's like, oh, it has Kirby. Okay, let's go. And so we went out and just went to a Target, and they had like a whole bunch of them. And there wasn't a line or anything. And I was just like, I guess I'll get a mini. And the guy's like, okay. And I came back and now I have a NES Mini to go with my Super NES Mini. And yeah, I've been reading stories for the past few days. Apparently, like, GameStop still has them.
Do they have them online?
I do not know. I haven't looked since.
I'm kind of, it's 9 degrees outside tropical. I'm not really trying to try here,
We too went out on a hot day.
We're in the age of convenience and stuff, so,
I don't believe in that.
You don't believe in the age of convenience?
Nope, you gotta do everything the hard way. I'm into it.
So I'm actually shopping right now. I guess we can sign off while I have gone on to do other things.
Okay. Anything to say before we sign off, RPG?
Booga booga booga.
Anything to say before we sign off, Tropical?
I think I've said enough for today.
I had a sign off thought up, and then I completely forgot it during the course of the episode. So, sorry about that, listeners. But you know,
Episode 400!
400 down. Woo!
Actually, it's probably far more than that, but still, woo!
Yeah, there might be like a random renumbering on the next one because we'll just like jump from like 400 to 400 and whatever, or however many whatever. So yeah.
There's that whole period where we had like a bunch of like filler episodes, so
Which we totally did. I mean, those were actual episodes, so...
we're like an anime, basically. We're like an anime.
So yeah, Aimless Babble Z, check us out. YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, wherever the F else on the internet. And until you see us again, Aimless Babble Z, and we're now signing off.